You want a piece of me, boy?
Nuclear launch detected.
Hello everyone, Funker here. I'll be walking you through the process of buying our special StarCraft 2 Nation Wars 5 items. The 5th edition of the National Team-based tournament will offer special in-game items and an exclusive t-shirt. Thanks to our partners, Matcherino and Blizzard, you'll be able to show your support for your country and the tournaments inside and outside of game. Here is how you do it. First, connect to matcherino.com/NW5. You will be warped into this page. Click on Sign in the top right and choose your preferred account to link to Matcherino. It can be your Battle.net, Facebook, Google, Twitch, or even Twitter accounts. Now, scroll down the page and select the package you want. In terms of in-game items, you can buy any of the 32 national portraits to represent the country you love, support, or wish you were born in. I see you South Korean portrait buyers. These portraits are at $2.47 and 30% of this will go to increase the prize pool of Nation Wars 5. You can get as many portraits as you want, but if you are a true hardcore fan of Nation Wars, we got you covered. The complete bundle for StarCraft 2 Nation Wars 5 will cost you $18.59 and will offer the entirety of the 32 national portraits as well as the 4 emoticons and 3 sprays created for the tournament. All of those are designed by the talented Nicolas Chaussois. Once again, 30% of the price will go to the prize pool. Last but not least, if you want to represent StarCraft 2 Nation Wars 5 in real life, like a boss, you can get your exclusive t-shirt designed by Nicolas Chaussois for $23.57. Once you selected the item you want, click on it. Select your region in the top right, the quantity you wish to acquire, add a contact email, type in the amount of money you need to pay for your items, and click on deposit. From there, you'll be able to use your PayPal account to add the required funds to your Matcherino profile. Once it's done, go back to the Matcherino page, check the tiny box to agree with the terms of service, and click on purchase. You made it! As the stretch goal will get closer, some surprises will be unlocked for you guys. Visit the main page of Nation Wars on Matcherino to check this out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to visit the description section of the page. You'll find plenty of useful information about all the process of buying Nation Wars 5 items. Enjoy the StarCraft 2 Nation Wars 5!
Hello everyone, and welcome with us for the Deciders match in Group China. I'm here with Zombie Grub and Rotterdam.
Yeah, Deciders match for Group China. That's that's a tall order for them, you know. I think they're hoping to get out first, being on the name of the group or whatever, but it's actually going to be really tough. It was really tough. Canada almost got them. Now they're up against Norway.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this one. I think this is one that's very tough to predict. We already went over it a little bit. I truly hope that it's not just Time versus Snoot. I really hope that whoever it is on whoever team can upset one of those stars, because then I think it makes for a very fun and interesting storyline. I hope it's going to be back and forth. We've got 3 Protosses in it as well. I must say, my Protoss heart is getting darker and darker with all these ZVZs that I've been casting. I'm wandering around, hoping that Pig walks into the building anytime soon, but he's not here, so I'm happy we got some Protoss action here as well.
Okay, so it's going to be Norway against China, and let's take a look at the Norway lineup here.
Alright, so we got Snoot, of course, Scythe, and Poseidon. A well-rounded matchup. Did they actually take a picture of him from his interview and put it in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a cool.
Why is the wall not in the picture, though?
Infamous wall. So yeah, all eyes are on Snoot, but Scythe and Poseidon had some fun games, especially Poseidon yesterday had very wonky games. So I mean, I guess they could do something. Let's see a PvP or a PvZ, I suppose. Scythe comes out of Terran, but Snoot, it's probably going to come down to Snoot versus Time, 3 times. That's at least what I'm predicting. So.
I'm channeling for the upset. I am channeling that one of the guys, whether it's Cyan or Maxset, is able to upset Snoot, or Scythe or Poseidon is able to upset Time. Like, I really feel like we need that right now, especially in such a big series as this one. Obviously, the deciders match of this group. I mean, this is a fun team. We've seen those guys all on Skype call together. They're very fun, very chatty. Somebody else predicted that Snoot is probably going to win today and then end up in a giggly interview saying that he got lucky. I think that's a really good prediction of what could potentially happen, but yeah, it's a fun team. I hope they do well.
So now let's take a quick look to Team China as we've just seen them before. So Time has all killed Canada and will be able to all kill Norway. It looks harder.
Yeah. I mean, his teammates, unfortunately, were to help him that much versus Canada, so it's going to be hard for them to help him versus Snoot. Cyan and Max, of course, who I'm talking about. It's not the greatest performances against the Zerg, but Time was able to bring it back, shake off the rust. It's actually getting kind of late in China, as you mentioned, and, I mean, that's always something to consider, but he seems to be finding his groove again. But can the Terran or the Protoss from the opponent's team, are they able to take this guy out?
And during the break, we did our predictions, and I was really hesitating between those two countries. But I asked Twitter, and people think that Norway is gonna take the win.
The Snoot fans, they're always out there. I mean, Norway has been performing very well in the polls so far in this tournament. Even against Italy, I think almost everyone was voting for Norway as well.
Yes, I guess that was the case. Yeah, maybe anti-China a little bit too, because Canada was winning in the fan results as well. So I guess, what am I the only one who guess China? I'll be that person. I'll own up to that.
I mean, I don't think it's a weird prediction at all. I mean, China, obviously the only nation to take 3 maps of Italy so far as well. In Time, you really have a star player on the team. I know it may sound weird to the people when we keep hyping up this guy that people don't know that well yet. But Time really is. If like Time, somebody as good as Time would have been on like Team Denmark or whatever, then we'd be talking about him all the time, that he would be the guy for that team. Time really is super good, so I can see where you're going with it, Jess.
And we said 4-3, so we are all expecting a really close series.
Yeah, at least we all agreed on that. The ace match comes down and I'm the only victor. Can't wait for it.
Okay, so we're gonna have the interview with Team Norway. So is Poseidon here? Yes. Hi.
Hello.
Are you? I thought you were in the, how do you call the bath?
robe.
Bathrobe. I thought it was a bathrobe.
No, it's not that robe for sure.
He's like, no, that's for the second stream later tonight. Eh?
Okay, so have you watched the previous series, China against Canada?
Yeah, of course. It's nothing else to do while we wait for the match. So, trying to get some intel on how they perform during the Canada versus China. So, yeah. I think that we're going to do pretty well today, actually. So hoping at some really good games.
You look confident. Are you gonna start today?
Today I'm actually going to start.
Oh, the captain!
I guess.
I
Nice.
love it. What are you hoping for? A PvP against either Cyan or Maxet, or you just want to go up against Time and try out your luck?
I actually believe that Time got no chance against me, but yeah, I think it's going to be Protoss.
You know, I must say, you mentioned in the interview yesterday that you played me Ananda before and you beat him down convincingly. I mean, you did get the W, but that was kind of a shaky game, wasn't it?
Well, he had a build or the win, and he managed to lose from that, so I feel pretty confident that it's not going to be a build or the win from the other Protoss this time.
Alright, so it didn't bother you that much?
Nah, well, it's like in PvP it comes down more to micro compared to the build orders usually, so you can get ahead in the game after a bad start if you just trade well with your units.
If I want to ask you like one tough question though, you said like, it's kind of a build or the win, but in the end, like you were the one who proxied a robo. Like you of course don't have to proxy a robo, right? Like you can't really, I don't think like you can ever say something is a build or the win when you're the one who's going for like a proxy robo, and like you're kind of rolling the dice there, right?
Yeah, well, I was expecting a Stargate from him, but like wanted to catch him a bit off guard, and I was hoping that his micro with the Oracle wasn't watching, but it was painful the first 2 minutes of the game when the 2 adepts came and then another 2 with an Oracle and then non-stop Oracle, so I was forced to have Stalkers behind, and yeah, that's a really annoying unfortunate thing to have when you're playing
Yeah.
all in.
I did compliment you on that because it's very easy to still like pull your stalkers and feel like I just want to attack, and then you leave only 2 behind and you think you're fine and you end up losing 11 probes. But hopefully we'll see a different PvP, even though you did win, and I guess that's all that matters in the end. What made you start?
The map, of course.
Eastwatch.
We set the map order. Yeah. Like, it's not a nice map to have against Terran on, so for Zerg, and my other teammate didn't enjoy it as well, so, and I'm like, in PvP it can go either way, and in PvT it's really good for me.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. So, do you play much against these Chinese players?
I've met them a few times on the NA ladder, and I've actually won all of them, actually.
Oh, really?
So,
Even like against time?
Yeah.
Oh.
I have a lot. Of course, it's really even, but like in ladder, bind barcodes, you know, everything can happen.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's actually, I wasn't expecting that answer. I thought maybe you guys haven't played at all. I was going to ask if you were scared, as the Chinese Protoss kind of have notoriety about them for having a particular style, but it seems like you actually do know them.
Yeah, their style is actually better for me to face than Zergs and all that stuff, so to be honest, I'm a bit happy that we didn't have to face Canada.
Okay. And now I have maybe a last special question before going to the game. You know, we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of StarCraft. What is the best memory you have from StarCraft during these last years?
It has to be when Huck made Hallucination Phoenix, Colossus and stuff against Idra, and he rage quitted without even scouting. It felt really nice to watch that one.
A real Protoss answer. He's like, that was some real Protoss magic.
Okay, well, thank you for the interview. Good luck for your game. And
thanks.
So you're going to play against Sion. He's gonna be the starting player for China.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck.
Thanks.
So it's gonna be Poseidon against Sion on Eastwatch for the first game in the series.
You know, that was a cute answer, but I want him to re-answer that tomorrow and saying, when I all killed China in Nation War Season 5. Because, I mean, that's a beautiful moment that he mentioned. It's obviously a very iconic moment in the history of StarCraft 2. But that could be Hawk's favorite moment. That shouldn't be his favorite moment.
Yeah, I guess you're kind of right. I don't know about him all killing China, though. That's going to be quite the tall order. But a fun PvP to start things off on a fun map.
Okay, so we're gonna start. Are you ready? Oh, okay. So we have to just wait till Poseidon gets ready.
That's
As just finished the interview. We haven't seen many tweets today.
No, everyone is looking for the dog because they know that I only want to see dog pictures. I believe that you guys showed some yesterday, and this is right when I wasn't actually there, and all I heard is like, oh, and I was like, oh my god, are they actually getting like puppy pictures right now? But that's okay. Tomorrow I'm really gonna push for it because tomorrow we have 3 series, so that's plenty of time to get everyone out there and take a nice picture of their dog.
Yeah.
But let's check out the votes of the chat. So Norway or China?
I'm curious to see what the people think. I think that the Snoot army is going to be in full force here.
I'm pretty sure Norway is going to be dominating here, especially considering what China had versus Canada, and that's exactly as expected. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's not unexpected.
It's just tough. I think the first PvP, it obviously does matter because it could give like the star player potentially a better map to start on in one of those absolute key clutch matches. But even these Protoss players, there is upset potential there. Poseidon saying that he has defeated Time on the ladder.
Yeah.
I was with you there. I find that very impressive. I played Time myself and absolutely not capable of beating him. He's really good. It's just all the things that Time just showed in that game against Jig. Those are all the real signs of a pro Terran player. They're so annoying. A single Reaper, like you play against a Terran that's worse than you, the single Reaper never achieves anything. You play against a Terran that's better than you, that Reaper catches your attention for like a minute straight, and it's just infuriating to play against.
And here we go for the game. It has already started.
All right. Game number 1 between China and Norway for the decider match. In the top right on Eastwatch for China, it is the Red Protoss, Sion.
Of course, a big match here, the deciders match of Group China, as this man is going to try to make that other Norwegian star proud, but of course himself as well. representing Norway, it's Poseidon.
Okay, so Poseidon had already PvP win under his belt for Nation Wars. Will he get a second one?
What is that gate positioning by Poseidon?
I don't know, but it's not a wall off. I can tell you that much.
I mean, he's going to surprise us now. That's actually really odd. You rarely see that first gate being dropped down there. Why did he drop the first pylon? I guess he can still drop the gate on the right side, and then it's only a No, that's... I guess it's kind of easy to wall off still with a single pylon or whatever, so I guess it sort of works.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the end result's the same, right?
Yeah.
Like, you still get to wall off in case the Adept Shades go through, but it is always weird to see, well, not this, exactly what Cyan's doing. This is what you would usually see in a PvP.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't have to worry about a bailing bust on this map, or at least in this particular matchup. He's going to use the Cybercore now as well, and he's going to make it a little easier to have a unit on hold position as well. So even though that first gate positioning felt off a little bit, everything else is the same, besides the fact that Poseidon bought the war chest and Cyan didn't.
We clearly know who's going to win now.
Yes, I heard that those probes are a little faster.
Yeah, of course. Alright, so what do you... I mean, you're the Protoss master here. You have known the Chinese scene a little bit more, through their WCS NA days so long ago. The Cyan, we talked a little about his recent performance, just in general, not looking up to par. He did not perform well against No Regret, but that was versus Zerg. But then I mentioned just seeing him online. It just hasn't been what we expected after, what, a year ago? If he loses to Poseidon, I don't know if he'll consider it a new low. Apparently, the guys do play together, so maybe it's same old, same old. But Cyan, I don't know. I feel like after his performance, well, Max said too, but his performance versus Canada, he's really got to bring it through here to help out his buddy Time.
I like what Poseidon is doing here. That block is already very annoying, because now then he can only work truly with one stalker on it, as we see a pylon being warped in there for Poseidon as well, so could potentially go for another sort of proxy. Cyan opened up with the Twilight on this map, I'm not too surprised by, but I kind of hope that he's playing Blink Stalkers, but I'm keeping an eye on that probe, and that could of course potentially be a Dark Shrine probe, while Poseidon is just doing the same thing as he did against Mianonna.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have that much data to tell us if this is a normal occurrence or this is just the 2 times specifically that we get to see it in Nation Wars. Because if it is a normal occurrence, then I would figure Cyan is already prepared against this. But while there is going to be a Robo in play, it's going to be on the other side of the map, and we do have a Dark Shrine here for Cyan. What is going to hit first? What's going to deal the most damage?
Yeah, this is going to be very weird, just because it obviously comes down to, is he going to have an Observer with his first push? What does Cyan do with his Dark Templars? Does he warp all of them on the other side of the map, or does he warp some at home as well? The big problem for Cyan is that he really hasn't scouted properly yet. He did open up with that sentry. I like the fact that he has a shield battery here. That's going to actually allow him to win this little dance. Now he's going to scout with his hallucinated Phoenix. That's a massive scout. It doesn't tell him everything that he needs to know, but what it does tell him is that Poseidon is still on one base, and then I truly wonder, what do you do if you're Cyan? Do you get extra batteries? Do you chrono boost out your own Immortal? Do you get a defensive Dark Templar? So many things to do. It seems like he's willing to give up the Nexus.
Yeah, he's actually just going up into the main base, which might be the smart move. I mean, as far as proxies go, I'm not sure that the Robo is so common, but Gateways definitely, in which case, if he just survives, Dark Templars would win him the game, but it is a proxy Robo, so there is an available Observer, and Cyan might also be kind of onto something.
Yeah, the weird thing as well is Poseidon is getting a robotics bay, as Mapu just showed us, while the Observer is being rallied at home. Where are those Dark Templars? Did that one pylon get cancelled? I guess it did get cancelled by the Stalkers. What a weird game so far, Just. I mean, I feel like both players are trying to mind game each other a little bit. Of course, now that Cyan cannot warp in any Dark Templars on the other side of the map, I mean, the defensive Dark Templar is not going to do too much for him, but he bought a lot of time for himself. And with the sentries, I always feel that you're forced indeed to wait for your Disruptor here. What a bizarre build.
Yeah, I don't see too many proxy Disruptors. Okay, well, I mean, Cyan is trying to prepare for everything here. He doesn't know exactly what his opponent is doing. He might have gotten a glimpse of the Immortal there. Unfortunately, did not recognize the Observer on top, so the DT is just not going to do very much. If anything, maybe morphs it into an Archon.
I mean, the Disruptors are, on paper, very useful here. A lot of these units from Cyan are very slow. There is no blink. Sentries are very, very bad against Disruptors. These Adepts are going to try to be annoying. I think he will cancel that shape, but he scouts and he sees everything that he wants to see. You know, I have played against a build like this once, and now that I think about it, I actually think it was Poseidon, where he proxied everything in the left top side of the map. If you don't have a Phoenix, this is so hard to deal with, as Sentries and Dark Templar just run into this army almost immediately. And for Cyan, this becomes so weird and frustrating and annoying. I almost feel what you want to do is just get mass Immortal and split them up. But what do you really do against the Disruptors?
Well, that was very unfortunate timing. Same here, as the Lieutenant Phoenix was about to scout the Disruptor. That would have maybe been his cue to go ahead and spread the sentries. That is Poseidon's natural base right there.
Yep.
Yeah, what a weird game. But Cyan's already taken 2 bad Disruptor shots. Immortals are now weakened, although he's trying to get more. He's also trying to get maybe a War Person to help Micro against the Disruptor, but those 2 shots are pretty nice already.
Yeah, I almost feel that if Poseidon picks up 1 or 2 more units, he can just run up that ramp and he can start fighting those Immortals, especially because they're bruised a little bit as well. That Immortal dies because I guess the barrier wasn't ready yet. Damn. That's painful.
This is very painful. Unfortunately, units are attracted to the Disruptor shot, which is just so frustrating. But Poseidon already took too much damage, I think. I agree. Poseidon probably just is able to move up here.
He's going to fire 1 or 2 more times. He's going to connect with the Stalkers and the Immortal as well. And there's just almost nothing left for a Chinese Protoss. Cyan probably wondering what on earth just hit him. And if only his pylon wouldn't have been spotted by those Stalkers and he was able to warp in a couple of Dark Templars, this could have all been different. But these proxy Disruptors working out fantastically for Poseidon.
What a weird game. You expect the Immortals. You definitely expect the Gateway. You expect maybe the Immortals, but then the Disruptors would follow that up well. Clearly, Cyan wasn't prepared for it. I guess he has not played this particular style from Poseidon before, as it was just completely blindside. And now it's going to be game as soon as the force load runs out.
I honestly think this is one of the very first times that Cyan has ever seen this. Maybe the first time. He's probably wondering, what are those European Protosses doing on the ladder? We have never seen anything like this. I mean, all the gates are unpowered. There are no units left. GG, Poseidon gets the first victory for Norway in anything but ordinary fashion.
I feel like I'm going to cast a lot of abnormal games today. You know, you and Funka got to cast the Jig and BioIce games, which were like normal, even if they were a little harsh. But I got the No Regret games. I got this game. What a weird day today. China versus Canada, already so weird, and now versus Norway. With Poseidon, this guy just plays interesting games.
You know, even if Cyan would have just had a pylon on the edge of his main, he wipes in a Dark Temper on the low ground and he would walk it all the way to the other side of the map. I know it sounds crazy, but even that would make this very hard for Poseidon, because then you have to produce another observer. You probably have to recall the observer, or you have to send it all the way home. That just takes forever. A single Dark Templar on the other side of the map could have made everything so much more complicated, but Cyan was obviously worried about a lot of things, but Proxy Disruptor was simply not one of them.
Again, it's like seconds before his Phoenix was able to scout that too. He might have been able to pull away and had a ton more units, basically. You know, if he's only taking 1 Stalker per Disruptor shot, there's still a hold here. But instead, it was, you know, the 2-3 sentries, and then there was this. And now, with just no units, Poseidon was able to walk forward even without the Disruptors.
Every shot was cash money as well. There was not a single shot that whiffed. Every shot at least got a unit. Some of them got the jackpot. Some of them got a lot of damage on those Immortals as well. It's a shame. Cyan really not the player that he was in 2016. Not exactly sure what's going on with him, but it just seems like in 2016 he was so promising. He was really the up-and-coming Protoss. I think I said once that he was the Chinese Protoss that really took it to the next level. As we're getting ready for our countdown, what do you think?
I would throw up Max Edge. I mean, they waited, you know, till time to. They waited for time, the very last versus Canada. So.
I mean, Maxed probably looks at it and is like, I always open Phoenix. If he does it against me, Phoenix is pretty much a default win against the Proxy Robo build. And it is indeed going to be Maxed. But just to finish up my thoughts real quick, in 2016, Cyan was the Protoss, where Maxed and Jim, of course, in the earlier days of WCS America, were very fun players to watch, because we finally caught a glimpse of the Chinese scene and everyone loved it. They were pretty one-dimensional Protoss players. They made Colossus and Phoenixes, Setback, and were pretty successful with it, but that was about it. Cyan was the Chinese Protoss that played like the Korean Protosses, you know, the Archon drops, the non-stop Zealot harassment. He was flashy, he had it all, but it seemed that he kind of lost his...
touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead was going on the be up, and now he's just kind of flatlines and maybe on the way back down, unfortunately. But Max said is that historic player you're just talking about. It's one of the first to appear and show us what the Chinese scene looked like. So he still has all that experience, but I say that, and yet his game today was by far the weirdest one. Even time mismicroing his Helens, expecting a Bailing Bus, was not as weird as Max said, scouting literally everything and then still not doing anything about it.
He scouted an early pool and an early gas on a Biogenesis, and he played it like it was Eastwatch double hatch before pool. He just showed zero love and respect for potential Zerg aggression while going up against probably the most aggressive Zerg we have in the foreign scene together with Bly. I mean, Bly, no regret. It's a toss-up who deserves that title, but yeah, I'm with you, Jess. That was weird. I am very curious to see if Poseidon is going to go for that triple proxy robo in a row in show matches. That would be also an all-time first for me, guys, in 8 years of StarCraft 2 casting. I don't know. Let's see.
He seems to be doing well with it, so I guess why stop? And Max said, and this is literally like if you looked at the last series and Max said literally scouted everything and still did not do anything to respond. It's a perfect opportunity to go for another proxy robo if the guy's not going to do anything about it. Don't know what's up with Max said. Usually when I say years of experience, that's the exact thing that it is good for, but maybe he's shaking off the jitters. Got a couple of tweets coming in here.
Someone showing some love to Time, saying that some of the battle Mac timings outside of Korea. Time, of course, played excellent indeed. We're all very excited to see Time potentially go up against Snoot in this Nation War. Thank you very much for your tweet. Make sure to keep those tweets coming, guys. Hashtag NW5s. NW5. Fies, not Fies. Maybe I am thinking of French fries, actually. Hashtag NW5. I'm sorry, guys. I'm convinced we need a Rotterdam versus the Greek God 92 show match to settle the vendor. That's Poseidon, I guess? Yeah, that's Poseidon. I'm always down for a cheeky show match. Don't worry. He seems like a great dude. I'd love to have some PvPs with him. Proxy Robo is not very good against Phoenix, though. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, Funka taught me a new word.
Remontata?
Yep, Remontata.
What is that? And
like the comeback or the reverse all kill. It's a Spanish or French word. Funka wasn't sure. He said it's probably Spanish, but they use it in French. I don't know what it was, but Remontata. The reverse all kill of Time.
Good deal. I did not know that. Yeah, Time, of course, the guy we're waiting for. But Max said still need some time here. I don't suppose you remember what the next map was?
I absolutely do not know.
Nope, didn't get a check before it started. That's kind of unfortunate, but it is PvP, and I think that no matter what map it is, apparently Poseidon does not mind doing a proxy. What was the other map he proxied on? Neon Violet's
Yeah, he did it on Neon Violet. I mean, that's a map with a pocket expand, and Eastwatch is just a very big one, so I'm obviously not exactly sure what's going on. We'll see. Alright, it seems like we got an update, guys, from our producer. Someone was trying to talk to me, and I actually have all my sound settings very low.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to hear myself that loud. But apparently, China did not want to send out Maxet, and apparently they wanted to send out Time instead. So now we're just checking if that was actually according to the rules or not. But if it is according to the rules, then all that PvP chat that we just had was irrelevant.
Yeah, irrelevant. Well, I guess we just need to wait for confirmation. But I guess talk about Poseidon, the guy that we know is going to be in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just checking it right now with the admins, guys, because we're not sure if this was either a miscommunication or if they truly said, you know, we want Maxet, and then they thought about it. It's like, never mind, we want Time. Then obviously that wouldn't be according to the rules, but maybe something just went wrong. I'm sure we can go ahead and continue day 2 or game 2 so far.
Yeah, game 2. It must be a little frustrating for Poseidon as well. He seemed very confident, and you know, I thought that was just kind of like showmanship confidence. And then he says he actually beat all of these guys on ladder, at least evenly, you know, 50-50. So, but it's still frustrating. Got to determine what you want to do, PvP or PvT.
After I just saw that build, I suddenly realized that this Protoss that I played on Blackpink a little while ago, that must have been Poseidon, because I think his ladder account is TGG, and now that I think back of that game, that could have been TGG, and he did a similar build to me on Blackpink, and I had Phoenixes and I actually lost, but I just played. It was one of those moments where, you know, I was on the road for 3 weeks, I came back, and it's my first game, and somebody proxies a robo and a disruptor bay, like somewhere, shows up with disruptors and a warp prison, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, this can't be real. But fun builds, I mean, it's always fun to see something new at least.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I actually think PvP is one of the most dynamic, fun matchups. I know that some Protosses, when they play it, get very frustrated. But as far as, watching it, it's got a lot of build variety, got a lot of, you can have the early game, you can have the mid game, you can have extremely late game. I actually really enjoy it. And then when you have high-level analysis, like with Roddy here, then you can understand it better, and it's even better.
Sometimes, guys. My favorite PvP series of the year is still Neep versus Harstem at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. That was so fun. Where in game 1, Harstem went Nexus first, and then in game 2, Neep went Nexus first.
Yeah, that's what I remember you talked about that yesterday, I think, yeah.
It's so fun. That was such a good series. Of course, a couple of the Korean PvPs have been awesome as well. What I always think is funny about Korean PvP is that on some moment, they're all like, Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. And then for like 3 days in a row, everyone plays Stargate, and then suddenly one guy loses with it. It's like, nah, Twilight is the way to go. All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed our little chitty chat. It seems like we are ready to hop into game number 2. We have absolutely no idea who's going to play against Poseidon, but we're about to find out. This is like a new countdown, Jess.
Yeah, it's another countdown. There we go. We now know it's going to be on Blackpink, and I'm very, very interested to see what's going to happen because Poseidon said that regardless of who it is, who's left over, he's been able to beat him before, which I really wasn't going to give him much chance against Time, certainly against Maxed, but who is it? It is, okay, our Protoss. All right then, game number 2 in the top right as the red Protoss, he is Maxed for China.
Absolutely expecting him to play Stargate on this map. Over here on the left bottom side, the Protoss that doesn't run out of memes. He's a lot of fun in the interviews and super fun in-game as well. It's Poseidon. Oh. Memes on memes on memes. I think we found the European print F.
Maybe. Didn't he do this against Raynor on this map?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, okay then. Cannon Rush, classic. As I recall, it did end up killing the natural, so it wasn't a totally failed execution at all. So maybe this will be super frustrating for Maxed, who is probably more concerned about that later on proxy than he is about a forge.
And he's still, like Mapu already showed us as well, over there on the right side, if you drop pylon, you can actually tuck a cannon in pretty quickly. Now Maxed sends out a probe. It seems like he's a little bit worried here. Or he just wants a very fast cybercore. That's of course possible as well. But it's happening behind his mineral line. That's 4 pylons being wiped in. A lot of surface area on those pylons though. Maxed, I think, needs to stop mining all that gas unless he just sacrifices the main.
Oh, that would be such a weird game.
He gave up the gate as well. Now Poseidon traps him in his main base. I have no idea what Maxed is supposed to do. Maxed has 1 probe. He could potentially recall, I guess.
He could expand again. I mean, I've seen games like that. Actually, Nee played one years ago. I guess that is his plan. He's like, I can't do anything with the pylons anymore. That's not what I was expecting to have the aggression put on me. So, recall, it's going to have to be.
Yep. I mean, potentially he could also kill the pylon, but that takes a very long time. He already has to stop mining, though. This is so early. Maxed without any income right now. At all. I think he could mine from the last.
That might be worth it. I mean,
I agree.
Long enough, and maybe you get 100 minerals, 125 actually for another stalker. Although he'd also need to mine a couple more gas. This is awkward no matter how you spin it. But Poseidon must recognize that this has got to be the plan. I mean, what else would you do when not doing anything?
There are some crazy Protosses who sometimes just pull all the probes and a stalker and run towards your side of the map. Yeah. Like I've done that a couple times. You get 2 stalkers out and you just run to the other side of the map. And you fight with all your probes and 2 stalkers, but. It was also kind of funny that Poseidon decided to kill the gas before the Nexus. Not exactly sure about the thought process. You see, he's getting 2 cannons.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised to see him go ahead and defend because the stalker going across the map would make a lot of sense. It can't go back into the main, but I guess it could. But is he going to scout?
I mean, eventually he will find it, but actually this is not that bad for Maxed. Of course, he lost a lot of income, but his tech is so far ahead. His cybercore was not in range of the cannons, so Warp Gate is actually about to finish up. I mean, what a game.
Yeah, he didn't see the probes pull all the way across the map, so naturally starts checking all the bases, and it is just at the third, nothing super sneaky like at the corner bases. He's going to try and cannon rush again, really?
No, you can't. The Stalker is out.
Here.
Yeah.
I guess he was hoping that Stalker was just patrolling the natural for some odd reason.
Or do you think he just wants to block the gas? But that's not really working. You have to cancel these pylons. Come on.
Yeah, cancel.
What?
Cancel, he just sits on another one.
Is he just trying to delay the gas mining? I guess that's what he's worried about. As the Stargate is actually going up for Poseidon. You know what cannon rushes often do? They take hidden bases as well. It's
Yeah.
almost a shame that he lost that probe, because if he sends that probe to the left top side of the map and he drops an expand there, I don't think that Maxed is ever going to scout it.
This is so weird. Of course, the warp gate's already done for Maxed, but Poseidon still has a ways to go. He's actually depending a lot on that Stargate. To follow up with the aggression, if possible, Maxed chooses a Robo, which I guess Poseidon didn't only deny a little bit of gas mining, he also got some decent scouting. It's just, there's not a lot of room at this base for Maxed to sprawl out.
That still seemed like a big waste of money to me, though. That's a lot of minerals that he just flushed down the drain. 2 extra gates, 3 extra gates. So we're getting Oracle 4 gate here for Poseidon. Meanwhile, Maxed is going to work on these pylons in the main base. I kind of like that. Try to supply block your opponent a little bit. It is important, though, that he eventually brings these Stalkers home, because if Maxed can obviously not afford to lose 6 or 7 probes against that Oracle.
He does have a shield battery already. I mean, a very common follow-up to any Protoss shenanigans is an Oracle, so...
Oracles, DTs, or Proxy Nexus. It's one of them.
Exactly. Of course, the shield battery won't actually help if there's 2 Oracles shooting at the same time, so it is still a big potential if Maxed takes too long to clean this up, but he's almost got the last pylon.
Yep, and only leaves a single Stalker behind, which I actually think is pretty smart. So Poseidon waited until he has 2 Oracles. He's going to fly them out right now. He's going to try to do a lot of damage. Maxed is sending his units back. Stalkers are in a decent position. If he gets 5 Stalkers, I mean, it's actually quite easy to kill 1 Oracle there. But it all comes down to the angle of engagement. Maxed is out of position, and this could potentially spell disaster for our Chinese Protoss.
That's true. He might be just set down to a 1 base all-in, which looks like might be the case. No, he's going to pull back. But I was going to mention, Maxed's getting a Warp Prism. Like, he could just elevate her into the main, and does Poseidon really have the defense? His wall is at the natural, of course, but kind of cheeky there. Doesn't quite get the Oracle, but he doesn't have much surrounding his actual mineral lines, right?
No, you were spot on, though. That's actually what Maxed should do right now. He should fly to the main base of Poseidon, just drop everything in the main base. Don't worry about the natural, don't worry about the ramp. Just drop it into the main. You're too far behind economically at this point. I mean, that's an insane amount of probes that he just lost. Only 10 probes left. If Maxed wants to win this game, he needs to do it now with his army and his Warp Prism.
He's going through the natural, though. It's going to waste time killing these buildings. Even killing the Nexus is going to be in favor of Poseidon. He's trying to crank out a Force Field and a Void Ray. He has more time to build more Stalkers. Poseidon is, I mean, Maxed rather, he does have an Immortal. That's his big heavy hitter, but is it going to be enough to break this ramp?
I mean, it just seems unlikely. Such a shame that Maxed didn't just try to roll the dice there. Just drop that Immortal in the main, drop the Stalkers, fly back and forth. Force fields going down on both sides, but fighting up a ramp against these cannons is just very difficult.
Yeah, his Immortal actually wasn't even getting punches on that cannon. It died so slow, it didn't even die. It only lost its shields. So, and now that this is more obvious for Poseidon, there's no way he's going to get the sneaky Warp Prism off to the side to elevator everything in. Still losing probes as a 3rd Oracle did come up and join, so 2 again here. Even as 1, doesn't die again.
Poseidon getting a lot of value out of his Oracles, as Max said is, yes, he's doing a little bit of damage, but this is simply not enough. He's got 10 probes. He needed to go right for the juggler, and he's just not doing it. He's wasting way too much time dancing around in the natural. Poseidon looks at this, he's like, well, fine. You've got nothing at home. I mean, so what if you contain me for a little while? I'm okay with being contained if I've got double the economy of you.
Yeah, if Max hadn't lost 8 more workers, okay, about 12 more workers, let's say, then it maybe is like a fine game, even if he's down in army supply. But he's down in army supply, down significantly in probes. I guess he has a healthier base, technically. That's but there's no way he's going to break this ramp.
I mean, going up the ramp is just always difficult, and you have to worry about a potential force field landing out of nowhere as well. Maxed still trying to rebuild his economy. Poseidon just building Void Rays. He's like, well, I normally don't make Void Rays, but if my opponent is very broke, I guess Void Rays are pretty good. I mean, actually, you know, Poseidon is starting to mine out his main. Yeah. I almost feel that Maxed's best plan, as he's losing more probes. This is just insane how many works have gone down in this game. Maxed with only 7 probes remaining. No! Maxed is going for a drop in the main base. This is what he should have done so long ago. He has to be so careful. Void Rays are here. Void Rays can just right-click on the prism.
That's exactly what could happen. Very dangerous stuff. Max said if he did this, 12 times and killed a probe each time, maybe it's back to being an okay game. But there's still the army supply to worry about as Poseidon is just getting better and better. And Max said is stuck. He's literally using every single mineral to build more probes.
Yep.
One probe at a time.
His army is just not big enough anymore. He's forced to pick up his own sentry and the Immortal as well. But, I mean, he has a few extra units at home. Normally, maybe if he fights near a shield battery and pops the Guardian shield as well, it seems like he wants to use the Prism to micro a little bit instead. There is a Guardian shield on the side of Poseidon as well.
That wasn't a bad start, but now that Poseidon's army is here, it's a little more questionable. But even not canceling as he disengages with that Void Ray, it takes a little additional... It's going to actually die here. There we go. Yeah.
You can actually cancel Prismatic Alignment. Both Void Rays got picked off without really achieving anything. There is still that Immortal in the mix. There's still plenty of Force Fields available though. And Max Set's Prism is a little too far in the back. Ends up losing a unit there, and that's painful. But Jess, this is still a game. What are we watching?
I don't understand how this is happening. Well, I mean, I guess I kind of do. The Voiders a little too far forward. He didn't micro them correctly, and micro's still very important. And it's not perfect here from Max that he needs that Warp Prism to micro.
Yep. I mean, the Immortal's getting some shots up. Prism is very far in the back. It's a dangerous game that Maxit is playing, but he's still playing it. He's getting a lot of damage on the sentries, and now these Stalkers are suddenly quite low on HP. Saves his own Immortal. Maxat with the plays, and don't forget that Maxat probably is actually mining more than Poseidon now, because Poseidon, his mineral patches are gone. You can see that in the tab as well. Maxit actually has a better economy, despite the fact that he's down 7 probes.
I threw out that he had a better mining situation, but I thought the Voiders are going to do it in. Now it's coming down to that problem. Poseidon, of course, mining from his original base. Maxit, not so much, is a big issue. And Poseidon losing the micro war there. He's now down in army supply.
He should actually long distance mine a little bit. He uses recall to deal with his Prism. Maxit should see this.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. Maxit buys more time for himself, and that actually puts a Chinese Protoss in a pretty sweet position. What a silly PvP. One of the silliest I think that I've ever seen. Oh, no. Maxit, you did so many things right.
Oh, okay. Flank, of course, nowhere near being even started in this game. So the Warp Prism, it desperately wants to get over some high ground. It's going to find it, and also going to buy some more time. Now I see that Poseidon is planning on moving out.
Kind of trapped. He could recall it as well.
Yeah, and he'll see that Poseidon is going to go for the push. But there's a shield battery here. They have a lot of Zealots to chew through that are going to be difficult. But that Warp Prism's no longer here to micro, and it's the question of what's more important.
Fighting without 10 army supply is actually kind of scary, though. If I'm Maxit, I really don't want to keep this Prism at home. There's plenty of Force Fields available on both sides. Now we get some long distance mining from Poseidon as well. Don't forget about that Prism. It's still not here. Maxit, you should probably really recall. You need this Prism, buddy. You need those 4 Stalkers and the Warp Prism.
He absolutely does. Good call from him. He did have the energy as well. It does get recalled to the front line, which is a little bit scary. It's actually not being used. There we go. And another Immortal is about to pop out. Zealots are actually getting swipes here on Poseidon's army. Can Maxit do this?
This Immortal has done so much damage. It's 2 Immortals now. I actually think he can, Jess, as long as he keeps that Prism alive, as long as he doesn't die against the Force Fields. Poseidon knows that he really needs to make some magic happen. More Force Fields going down, but these Immortals are looking fine. Need to pick it up, Maxit. That's a last-minute pickup if I've ever seen one. The only non-Stalker unit remaining is that Sentry there, and that means that these Immortals of Maxit are going to have a field day. Every time they shoot, they do a tremendous amount of damage.
His Warp Prism and both Immortals now are in the reds. When they lose shields, they're going to be gone in an instant. That's something that Poseidon has to be aware of, wants to be able to focus fire, but Maxit, even going for another Sentry, is going to have Forceful, he's going to have his micro. This is coming down to the wire. A 4 army supply difference. Workers have kind of evened up now too, and Maxit is the one going for it now.
Yeah, it's hard to go up that ramp though. You really have to respect the power of the sentries in these situations. Even if you have a couple of Immortals in the mix, the Force Fields are very ambitious, kind of lets all the units go in, but the Adepts are really messing with the Immortals there. I think that Maxit is going to have to sort of disengage, even though the focus fire is good and the Immortals is still alive. One Immortal finally does go down, and the Adepts...
He's going to micro it. He's going to micro the
Prism.
No, which one's going to go down? The Prism goes down, but it does get the Warping. But then the Immortal also goes down. 4 Adepts and a Sentry is all that's left for Maxit against Poseidon's 4 Stalkers.
Kill probes.
Nope, more than 4 Stalkers now. He has enough minerals to warp in again. What? Where did that Immortal come from?
There's another Immortal. There's a Sentry still in the mix as well. The Sentry gets sniped, but the Immortal on the low ground, these Stalkers are going to have a hard time engaging it.
They popped the shield, which is very, very important.
But still, I don't think you can just right-click on the Immortal.
No, I don't think you can either. This is like a micro trainer right here.
Poseidon losing 8 probes. Maxet, guys, has taken an economic lead in this game after he lost 28 probes against Triple Oracle. He's taking his natural without taking the main. I love it.
This is turning into an even weirder game now. As you're right, Max is natural. He still has his main to fall back on. You know, this turned into a really weird base race. He'll have a full mining main, whereas Poseidon desperately needs to transfer those probes. He's almost out of minerals entirely in the main. I guess he lost all his oracles a long time ago.
Yeah.
There's not much reason to make another one. Oh.
I mean, the Prism was so important for Maxet. It really saved himself so many times. Of course, this is a new Prism, fresh on shields. These adapts are really going to hurt Poseidon here, as Poseidon simply doesn't have a great economy. He only has 18 probes, so if you lose a probe or two, it becomes painful. What a bizarre game. I mean, Map is showing us maybe one Phoenix to make his life a little easier.
Yeah, that is a very good call. The Warp Prism, I mean, there's been a lot of weird moments in this game. A lot of the units got very low, and that made it very, you know, nail-biting. But now that everything has full shields again, that Warp Prism could theoretically just live forever. So Phoenix figures got to come out.
Yep. I mean, it's still close right across the board. Of course, Maxet having an Immortal out is nice. Poseidon, I mean, actually, like making multiple Phoenixes would not be a bad call here, because Maxet lost all of his Stalkers. Stalkers are pretty expensive units. He doesn't have a lot of anti-air. I actually think making 4 or 5 Phoenix is a pretty smart move here. So you just lift the Immortals and then you can win the ground fight. And also Phoenixes are very good against both Sentries and Adepts. But then again, I can also understand that making Phoenixes while you're on such a low economy feels like a very scary thing to do.
Warpsman got low, but not as low as the last one. So a lot of mic potential once again for Maxet. Phoenix could deny 1 probe mining, but he can't kill it. So just a lot of scouting going down.
Probably want to save your energy then to potentially lift up. I'm surprised he gets a Twilight Console here. And an Oracle. He's like, all right, no shield battery yet in that natural.
That's actually a fine call. That's a good combination of scouting and reacting, but Maxet is pushing to the front, and he has a couple of Adepts going to shade maybe into the main.
Oh, those points are not good enough. He let a lot of units squeeze through, and Poseidon actually ends up losing a lot of very expensive units early on. Now the Adepts are coming in from the other side, and I actually think that this is it. Maxet with a miraculous victory after losing 28 probes against a bunch of Oracles. Ties up the score.
How? I mean, I always believe in the power of Warp Prism Immortal Micro, but I thought he was dead on multiple occasions with all 3 units. That was crazy.
When he didn't go for the main and he actually settled for killing the natural, I was like, there's no way. You've got 10 probes. I mean, what are you? Even if you contain him, you've got 10 probes. And eventually, Poseidon's main starts drying up, and you see he has a little oversaturation. Then he has heavy oversaturation, and then there is that one Warp Prism that just saved every single unit, and those Immortals just refuse to die. What a game.
That was the best part of the game, was that's the fact that he had taken the main under his control, the cannons, allowed Maxet to have better mining come 8, 9, whatever minutes. That you don't see that too often. You see this often enough, sure, Oracle's killing probes, whatever. You see Warp Prism like him, sure, but not the main versus third base saturation issue.
No. And these Oracles surviving as well every single time with just no HP. Of course, he made 3 of them, so even when he ended up losing 1 of them, he was still able to do so much damage. Look at the game in this phase, guys. Like 12 probes against 23. And this is not even it yet. At this point, he has 9 probes. Maxet with the comeback, 9 probes against 23. Oh, I cannot believe what we just watched. 8?
8. I think that's the lowest he went.
Yeah.
7? No, just kidding. No.
6? No. 7 probes against 23. But the Warp Prism, this was so close, by the way. The Warp Prism is almost going down. Otherwise, he never wins that fight. If he doesn't have the Prism micro potential there, if the Immortal gets force fielded out and it gets picked off, the rest of the army is just not powerful enough. But Maxet displayed some stunning Prism micro in this game with some really clutch pickups and really fun crisis management.
Yeah, this game is all about crisis management for both players, but Maxet able to pull through just a tiny little bit more. I would like to see that's where his experience came in. You know, I feel like this game really made up for the Abe Genesis game versus No Regret.
Yeah, that game we were looking at is like, okay, everything you saw didn't make any sense. In this game, he saw nothing but weird stuff, but he made a lot of correct calls. And Once again, I really thought that he had to win the game immediately because I was like, how do you come back from 7 probes? That just doesn't really seem doable, but apparently an Immortal and a Prism and a Dream is all you need. As this was one of the many close fights we had. I actually thought he got too over-eager at this fight.
Yeah. Well, this is amazing because the third Immortal just walked across the map in perfect timing as these died. You see an awkward Immortal crab walk through the third. I just wasn't expecting that.
The Prism going down as well, but at least the Warp in finishing up. And then it's a couple of adapts. So many weird fights happen in this game. Fights that you just don't normally see. I mean, like, we're almost 14 minutes in at this point. Normally 14 minutes in a PvP, you see a bunch of Archons and Immortals and Guardian Shield and mass Zealot Warp-ins. Now we're looking at a weird fight of 4 adapts and an Immortal against a bunch of Stalkers that don't have Blink.
Yeah, this was an easier one to call, as Poseidon really was on the basic gateway units at that point. So that's ending might not have been so flashy, but the rest of the game absolutely was.
What a crazy game.
Yes.
Okay, so the next player for Norway, who do you expect to be?
Good question.
I think that Scythe probably feels quite comfortable in taking out Maxset, and I actually think that's a good moment. I think momentum is very important, and if you want to give Scythe the momentum and confidence to maybe take out Time, at least one game as well, you probably want to send him out here, say, do your thing, beat Maxset, and then hopefully he has the momentum to beat Time too.
I do agree.
It's going to be on Abiogenesis, so...
So TVP or ZVP. Well,
I mean,
okay, maybe they sent out Snoot for the Zerg.
That actually makes some sense.
Let's find out right now. It's gonna be Snoot, the Norwegian captain, against Maxet.
Yeah, on the bio, I can maybe understand it. Perhaps it's something to do with the map after this one as well. Maybe Snoot feels that confident that he's like, okay, I'll win on the Biogenesis regardless. And then the next map is actually not a bad map to go up against
Catalysts.
Yeah, that's very straightforward, but Snoot normally does like simple and straightforward.
He does. I'm actually like, you know, sure, Zerg does perform well in Abiogenesis. We kind of attribute that to cheese and aggression, though. Snoot usually not that guy. He showed a lot of aggression versus Raynor, actually. So I'm fairly positive we'll see an aggressive, more aggressive Snoot anyways on this map, but the question really is Maxset?
Yeah, what is Maxset gonna do in a Biogenesis? Like if you scout the early pool and the early gas on the smallest map in the pool, will you please keep your Adept at home, and will you please make a wall off and a shield battery and maybe a Zealot as well? Just any of those. Just don't do what you do before Maxset. But I mean, Maxset absolutely avenged himself. We forget about that first game he played today. This game that he just had on Blackpink, that was awesome.
Yeah, but I was really impressed by Maxet, like, despite everything, what happened, like, with the cannon rush and stuff, but he stayed focused in the game, and he could make it and win the game. So we have a 1-1 situation here between Norway and China for the deciders game in the lower bracket of Group China. And we'll be just right after the... sorry.
Be right back.
Yeah.
So, TM.
Hello and welcome back for the third game of this series between Norway and China. And sorry about earlier, the second game just made me lose my words. It was so crazy.
Oh yeah.
And I'm here with Funka and Zombie Grub.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of weird games in Nation Wars 5, but this one, probably the weirdest one, with the one of the sickest comeback as well. I mean, you start the game by abandoning your own main base because of a cannon rush, and then you climb back with some amazing Warp Prism micro. And now Maxset, the only thing I want to see is Robo opening Prism and just do magic with it.
It's possible, you know, if he doesn't die to any early Zergling aggression. And Snoot, not really the guy to do it, so it's possible. He could definitely throw out the Immortal Sentry. I don't know about push, but definitely aggression that I think we've seen from most Perdosses on this map if they get the opportunity.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Unfortunately, Maxa didn't get to that opportunity last time he played in this map, but that should not be repeated.
We have a cool tweet from Mark here. This is the coolest game I've watched in a long time. Kind of reminds me of
Teffel.
Teffel?
He is an old school Zerg player.
Yeah, from Poland. He was,
I don't know why it reminds me of Teffel, though.
Yes, that's the question, because he used to play Zerg. So...
Yeah,
and
that would have to be explained
is it because like Teffel used to throw games? Is that something that that he has in mind? Like I remember Teffel throwing some pretty hard games back in the day, so maybe that has to do with it. But it's a tweet from Liquid U Thermal, so we have to show it anyways. And it was a cool game.
It
So
was.
we have to agree with
We
that.
understand that much.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay. Keep them coming, guys. Hashtag NW5.
And I just checked the Macherino crowdfunding, and we've reached 50% of it. So
Oh, officially.
we unblocked the second goal. So
Nice.
we'll be able to have the HD wallpapers with this very cool exploding globe. And
Or not exploding.
yeah,
some,
not
some,
exploding. I
some
think,
are non-explosive. Yeah, I don't know about those
It's
ones.
just those are so cool. But look, like the China isn't that.
No.
Isn't
it's
exploding
just
that much.
It's a full planet.
No.
You know?
Actually, I never realized that Norway's not really exploding either.
Yeah.
You know, there's some more explodey planets than others.
Yeah, like Netherlands, for instance.
They're just all over the place.
It's just all over the place, and I hope it doesn't reflect on what's going to happen in a round of 16 for them, right? Nah, it's not going to happen. Netherlands, easy group anyways.
Whoa.
You guys got to be fine.
Hold on there. Easy group.
I know.
Come on now.
I know. Come on now.
Okay, so here we go for Snoot against Maxed on Abiogenesis.
Yes.
A biogenesis. How do you pronounce that, actually?
So I had the pleasure of casting the WCS event with the map pool, the first appearance of it in WCS. We literally looked it up on YouTube, and it's both a bio and abiogenesis. I went with abiogenesis personally.
Okay.
I think Artosis is a bio.
Yeah, because I remember that same exact discussion happening in Korea for IEM, but I can't remember exactly what people said. But they were all confused.
Yeah,
So-
I think it's fine for both. Plus English, we do whatever we want with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is good, because you can have a Frenchman casting StarCraft in English.
Yeah,
And it works.
perfect.
In the top left, representing China, just climbed back into a game that looked totally defeated. It is Maxed. The game didn't look defeated, Maxed did.
And in the bottom right, as the blue Zerg for Norway, he is Snoot.
And he is going to respect the fact that they are playing on abiogenesis, and he's going to go for a pull first. It's going to be scouted right away by Maxed and his probe. And we'll see a gateway on the natural. So taking a slight risk right there. Some people will argue that go straight up for the wall on the natural might be a little bit difficult. That's a sad probe. What happened, Maxed? Did you really needed those 5 minerals?
Yeah,
I think you needed to block the hatchery a tad bit more.
That's funny, because I thought Snoot was going to take the third, and then he was intentionally looking for that probe to be out of position. Nicely done.
Good job.
So the pool first, it's a little scary, I think, but the gas was not included with it. So at most, you have an awkward timing where lings are allowed into your base, but not that many. They'll just be kind of obnoxious if they even go across the map. And Snoot's only making 4, and Maxed had the double scout to see that it was the exact gas timing anyways. And he's even sticking around. He really wants to see, like, no tricky 8 or 12 Zerglings all of a sudden coming at me.
Yeah, it's only 4. It's going to be scouted. Those Zerglings are quite pacifist. They don't want to take any shots at this probe. It would be like a free probe right there. But,
yeah, it had a perfect surround.
Day 3, they still don't know. I'm not a Zergling. It was quite long to type, so we got what Mapu was trying to tell us.
Is that really how fast you type, Mapu?
Well, have you seen his keyboard?
You just go back to keyboard.
Have you seen his keyboard? That's the thing, right? Like, if he had an amazing mechanical keyboard, he would have done that way faster, right?
Yes.
He has like a 1996 kind of keyboard that you had, like, when you buy a computer for $3,000, even though it's probably slower than your cell phone right now. So, anyways, those Zerglings, they will get 3 probes. That's already way too much.
Yeah.
Might get a 4th one. Let's see.
Oh no.
They will get it. And that's an awful start for Maxed.
Yeah. Because I mentioned that there might be 4 lings that get across the map because there's abiogenesis and the pool came down first. Well, that makes sense. But with proper micro at this level, I say maybe 1, maybe 2. Ideally, of course, none if you're super on point. But he also made a zealot, which feels a little bit useless now. This guy is just like, well, I trained for 1,000 years, got to sit between the walls now. Well, the adept could at least go out and, like, search for stuff, which honestly it probably should be doing that. I know that Maxed was slapped down hard for setting it out the last time of Abiogenesis, but this is actually a situation where you need the probe scout, then you need the adept scout, and then usually the Stargate scout, but we actually don't have any tier 2 tech here.
I want to see a robo.
Gateways.
I want to see gateways. Gateways are fine, but I want to see a robo after that. And I think that should be Maxed's strategy. I'm actually taking risks here, and obviously being shut down hard right away. Twilight Council, Good anticipation on my end, obviously. So Twilight, expect probably... No, I'm not going to do that.
Don't even guess.
No, I am just going to stop.
You're not completely... Like, we went over...
He walked in at depths. May I say it's going to be Glaives?
I mean, I think it's a good guess.
Yes,
we have seen a lot of robo openers on this map, so it wasn't like a bad call at all, but it is going to be a little bit later. I mean, this timing... Actually, might go in a little something nefarious, but we'll wait and see. Snoot is doing a very good job of scouting around the map, looking for proxy pylons, looking for. I mean, eventually, if he continues doing this, he will find the Warp Prism. Then we're going back into a bit of an old school build here with the Dark Shrine, not the Templar Archive. So there is that potential surprise factor. But Snoot actually went for a bit of a fast layer. I want to say it was like 350 or something like that. Not extremely fast, but certainly something to consider, and certainly something that will help him against the Dark Shrine.
Oh yeah. Lair means you can get some overseers going and you get some detection against invisible units that the DTs are. That's an awful lot of Zerglings that are not doing that much right now. We'll see a Prism, chrono boosted right away on that Robo.
That's a lot of roaches.
And it's also a lot of roaches. So does he really like totally respect what could come from Maxed considering the map, or is he trying to just push and end the game right away? 5 more roaches with the speed upgrade. Could still be quite aggressive, actually.
Well, he is going to slap down the Archon drop, PT, then Archon drop, and then probably even slap down the charge follow-up. But it's more of a question for me is, does he actually push first? But it looks like he is actually waiting for this specific timing.
Yeah.
As his army is collected with an Overseer. And once this Warp Prism is kind of shoot away, that's when Snoot counters, and it's going to be instant on this map.
Okay, does he accept the shade? I'm not okay with that. That's 4 adepts for only 2 drones at the moment, but there's no detection on that third base. And yes, the Overseer is a little bit out of position, I think. Well, it's going to be close. Okay, the Corrosive Bile will hit invisible units, and that's 1 DT that will fold. But Adger, no! Come on, stop doing that. A-click and shift into your Prism.
There's no way that survives. He doesn't have any transfuses. He has to actually body block it. He's not body blocking it. Okay, it's gone. Okay. But it doesn't matter because Snoot's already hit it across the map. He had to give up this third base to do this, but he has so much more army. Maxed doesn't even quite have charge ready to go.
Yeah, no charge yet, but no zealots as well. A lot of force fields. Potentially, there is 1 pylon that's an Artosis pylon right there. Definitely.
Oh gosh.
And Cybercore will fall. Another force field, but it's been destroyed already by the Corrosive Bile, and that's a Maxed that's looking down at an army he just cannot take on directly, even though the force fields are quite cute. Now the pylon will fall, and that's every single building that Maxed has that are not just usable anymore.
The CT is the one hope here. Yeah, there's 4 Overseers. There's no way they're going to go down and let a DT win this game. Maxed not having great luck on this map.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just him. A lot of Protosses have trouble here, and unfortunately he was forced to play on it to continue his streak. It won't be happening, though, and it looks like China will have to bring out its Terran player for Catalyst. But Maxed not willing to go up yet.
Yeah,
they got this.
Well, we expected Snoot to take this game, and I'd say Maxed already did his job and also gave us a pretty interesting and entertaining game against Poseidon, but Snoot will appear to be too strong. Now it's 2-1 in favor of Norway, and as you mentioned, it's the only player remaining, guys. It's time. Reversed all kill just before against Canada, and now I'd say has to fight the toughest opponent, toughest Zerg that there is in this group. That there is in this group still remaining, because Raynor showed that he was a pretty decent Zerg player just before. But in Snoots, it's gonna be a different beast. It's gonna be super tough for him. But looks like a decent game to just enjoy and relax. See it. Having a blast.
Yeah, well, as of course the viewers, you get to just casually watch all these games. As the players, Maxed is like, I beat Genesis' sword, oh my god, it's so stressful, and then he dies. But yeah, I'm very excited to see Time versus Snoots. Not to totally discredit Maxed, who gave us an amazing PvP, another one where he was probably super stressed out, and that's probably why he had high hopes for these Immortals here. But it was Abigenesis. He's already lost once against Zerg on this map today. Probably not feeling too hot, and it's all about time. It's all about time for China, all about Snoot for Norway.
imagine if the Ravager didn't exist. And do you see
Okay.
a way for Protoss to actually hold that attack? I mean, he's got 5 sentries, 2 immortals.
I see a way that they don't get broken.
Yeah.
I mean, that was actually a ton of Wings of Liberty, wasn't it? Like 2 base Protoss just holding on for dear
So,
life.
because when the replay came in, I was like, oh, you know, maybe you can hold. And then I remembered that, just force fields, they don't do as much anymore.
Ravagers actually might be the best addition to Legacy of the Void, if I think about it.
I think Zergs are quite happy with the Ravager.
Yeah.
And quite happy with the fact that now force field can be broken before ultras.
As a caster, I'm pretty excited. No more force fields on the ramp. Although when it happens to Terran, I'm like, oh, it's cool if I could get a Thor. Whatever.
Yeah, you have to have a Thor though. It's,
so likely
it's
to
not
happen.
an easy technology to reach.
Yeah.
Like your opponent only has to have like a gateway and a cyber core. You
Yeah.
have to have a factory and an armory.
And you out there might be
And then
saying
it's
like,
clunky, it doesn't get there. It's like,
why would you ever need to worry about force fields on a ramp as a Terran player? And I'm like, Neeb
Yeah.
and his mothership
Yeah.
rushes. That's when I asked to
That was
worry
quite
about
sick.
it.
That was
Yeah.
quite sick, actually. One
Yeah.
of the greatest game of the round of 32, obviously. America will play as well. They're in
No.
Group C, but they'll
Monday.
be playing as the last group of the round of 16.
Oh,
I
okay, so
believe.
Wednesday.
Yes.
No, Thursday.
No, Thursday.
Haha.
Yeah, you got it.
I eventually got there.
So time, new player, new Terran player that comes in against Snoot. So we've seen his ZVT performance, his TVZ performance.
Yes.
Guy's really good, likes to play mech, only played a little bit of bio in the last game of the previous Nation War. But most of the time, we've seen TVZ with mech on the side of time, but every time he was able to get a lot of damage done with Hellions and Banshee. And back then I was talking with Roddy and I was like, this is not going to happen with Snoot, right? Like he's not going to be out of position with his million queens and Zerglings and roaches. Snoot is just unbreakable in the early game to me. Like he likes to control the pace of the game, being super, slow and takes his paces, super slowly, super carefully. So I mean, time knows he's not going to have the easiest time against Snoot. So
Yeah.
what does he do? Do we see like a 2-Rax to start things off on Catalyst?
Oof, that would be quite impressive. I don't think so. And hey, I only had to wait a second to confirm that.
Yeah.
We are getting into the game.
I've seen that. I've seen the pause. It's like,
Yeah.
let me confirm. Okay.
Fantastic.
It's good. Okay.
Well timed. Here we are. Bottom rights on Catalyst as the Red Terran. For China, it is time.
And his opponent for Norway, they lead 2-1, is the Zerg player in the blue, Snoot.
Going for a pull first again.
Yeah, you see the safest Zerg there is. It's actually like one of the most annoying kind of Zerg to play against, right? I mean, losing to a Ling Bane all in, not really cool either as a Terran player. But what's really tough is, as Terran, you want to go and get some damage done to avoid your opponent being able to reach those 70 drones and being able to spew out units day in, day out. And when they are perfect in terms of defense, and that's what Snoot is, in my opinion, almost a perfect defensive player, he can react to everything and then transition into that mid to late game stage of the game that he enjoys so much. And yeah, it didn't go for a scout. Well, he went for a pull first, which is already, like, defensively speaking, pretty good against 2-Rax. He's got that second overload on the side. He would have seen the CV come in for a bunker rush. But, yeah, just to start, Snoot doesn't take any risks. And now, we'll see what happens.
Well, time doesn't either. He actually has CV scouts, which is totally understandable and even heavily suggested against the Zerg player No Regrets. It's a little more like, you don't really have to against Snoot. At worst, he probably only does this, which is literally 2 Lings, not even 6, definitely not the Roaches. He'll just keep the Reaper at home. I'm surprised he didn't delve a little deeper with the SCV just to make sure that it wasn't something a little more nefarious, but he saw the hatch rate time and he's like, okay, at worst 6, at best 2, at best actually nothing. Sometimes Zerg players just decide not to do anything with this. But,
And Reaper will be in place to defend against that, but Snoot, smart man, will not even go towards that natural. Just wait a little bit more with those 2 Zerglings, get a follow-up scout if he can a little bit later. Reactor will finish, we'll throw down the starport, and interestingly enough, time goes for 2 Marines before switching the add-on. So yeah, we're looking at a Widow Mine, so could be a marine mine drop
Yeah.
to start things off.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
go-
absolutely what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Very interesting. You know, it's usually either another barracks or Hellions. There really isn't too much delving into the 1-1-1 in terms of reacted barracks, and then the rest being on a not add-ons. But it does occasionally happen, and we even see. I was going to mention that we occasionally see like a follow-up of tanks really quickly. I feel like it's not a very ideal build order though, and it's more about being defensive against the Zerg. Which I mean, if time's still. Okay, he's going to lose it for it. If Time is still, you know, kind of reeling from his games versus the Zergs earlier on, maybe he is thinking a little bit too much about defense, but okay, he's going to swap it off, and we might just have the Stim faster? No? Okay, I was like, where's he going to move that barracks? He's going to be going into Banshees after. So, Hellion Banshee. But that was a really nice scout from Snoot to see that it's not just Hellions. He's got to deal with the medevac a little bit earlier.
See the difference between a standard Zerg and Snoot. Those two Zerglings, he knows the Reaper hasn't shown himself. Okay, you kept it at home. I'll scout it a little bit later after I know I can get some proper intel from it. So now we've got 6 Marines and a medevac that will reach the third base. There is no creep yet. The Queens are a little bit out of position. We'll see if he can get a deny on that third base. As Snoot is counter-attacking with a million Zerglings.
You know what you used to do on Abyssal Reef and a couple maps before that? You would actually follow up with a tank push with this. You wouldn't get Hellions.
Yep.
But Time does have Hellions. He's not controlling them. So this ends up still being very effective.
No!
So.
What the hell? He was microing his heart out on this side of the map, but now, well, I don't want to say it's over.
Yeah, it's
but
not,
it is.
Kind of. Yeah.
You get 16 Zerglings that surround everything. You're going to get some SCVs killed. That's some SCVs, 18 in total, 36 to 14. It will take a massive outplay from Time with that single Banshee to climb back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a more doable situation than one against No Regret when he literally had one SCV. He has 15, and he killed a couple of the Queens, but that was just really nice from Snoot. If it was going to be the tank follow-up, like I said, like bringing back an old-school strategy, the Lings would have flooded a tank, and that's still good. And he also probably noticed that Time doesn't wall off with a third CC, so even though this hit before third CC anyways, he knows the wall's not going to be there, and 2 Hellions, even if they were controlled, we're going to have a tough time. So Time desperately trying to counter, and Snoots does not have any Lings back here.
Yeah, all the Lings were trying to counterattack, and they did get 3 SCVs, but they were denied the entrance to the main. They did kill the depot, though, so that's more SCVs that are not doing anything. Now 3 Queens and a Spore will try to defend against those Hellbats. The drones line up perfectly for the Hellbats. That's already 9 that go down. The Banshee doesn't die right away. It comes too close to the Spore and will eventually get cleaned up. He will remain, well, he will save 1 Hellbat, has 2 more Hellions in the middle of the map, another Banshee. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's not bad. It would have been really nice to get the last
than
Queen.
expected.
Right, but he did make it a little bit closer. Unfortunately, Snoot still has so many more drones. He's had more economy for a while, so he's already invested into 1-1, something that Time, even if he found the minerals and gas to invest into, obviously there's no chrono boosting that. Like, you gotta wait the entire time for an upgrade. And he is going to go into the follow-up he's been doing, 9 out of 10 times, which is the Cyclone and +1.
Okay, the Hellions will get dropped to the main, and that's way more drones that will go down. That's already 4. He will make it 8. But at the opposite side of the map, we've got some more Zerglings, and there is no wall to finish things off for Time. So those Zerglings will reach the main as the Hellbats will get transformed on the natural, on the side of Zerg. Not that many units. The Queen bugged a little bit, trying to get the medevac. Now the Spore finishes the job, and once again, Snoot, with its trademark Queens, will get a little bit more of those Terran units out of the sky. 12 SCVs to 12 drones dying, but still more Zerglings in the main. This game is a bloodbath.
It's very topsy-turvy. Every time that Time seems to be able to bring the game back, Snoot equalizes after having already killed so many more SCVs. Bit of a misrally there. I think what's really disheartening is not just that Time lost SCVs there as well, but that he saw that the Queen count was still kind of high. He's not going to get away with all the Hellbat pushes like he was hoping. That could bring him back into this game.
And Snoot being super clever here, baiting the Hellions with only 3 Zergling because he has 30 more. And that's going to be GG. Snoot takes it and makes it 3-1 for Norway.
Yeah. Usually you don't have to really worry about Snoot's lings in any regard. I mean, he might kind of pose a threat of a counterattack, but usually does the safe thing and keeps them at home, in which case Time just trades out, fairly well with Hellbats.
Yeah.
But the counters, they were actually perfect.
It looked like Nurcho from like 4 or 5 months ago, if you remember. Like he used to open pool first every single game and produce a pretty sizable amount of Zerglings, and will go for the counterattack day in, day out, all the time. And, that's basically what it did in this game. And Time wasn't prepared every time. Well, with the depot not being raised up in the main, which started the whole thing, that's actually the replay we're seeing right now. Snoot gets the full scout, gets a lot of damage done. It's going to be 18 SCVs, I believe. And yes, the attack on the opposite side did kill a couple of queens and, damage the third hatchery. But in the big story of this game, then you have a Time that was never able to gather enough minerals to build up an actual army that could kill Snoot.
Yeah, and it really is a difference of paying attention to back at home. The Hellions do die. Like, that's almost 100%. Two Hellions just do not take on that many lings. But you might be able to pull the SCVs. You obviously raise the depot. And that's where his Marines still kind of chew away at the queens. And it's a lot more even of a game. And it was a very interesting game, too. There was so much damage being done in the early game. These additional run-bys were just something to ensure that he had a lead, that he wasn't losing, throwing a game because he wasn't quite dealing with this stuff.
Ah, interesting. Interesting that Snoot just, changed things up, even though he went quite ham on the queen numbers, which is super snooty. But yeah, you said it. Mass Zerglings, constant aggression, and trying to just finish the game right off the bat, and that's what he did. Now that's 3-1, and Time might not feel super comfortable going against Snoot once again.
So GG, Snoot here, he takes out Time, and China still have one more chance to revive and maybe to make it for round of 8.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to wait 30 seconds to know, but I guess it's gonna be Time.
I think so. Max said, obviously, Abiogenesis, that was tough, but I also don't think you depend on him too much after that. Same for Cyan. It's Time.
We're talking about the guy that just did the remontada in the game before.
Word.
Remontada. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it exactly.
Yeah.
We say it the French way, la remontada. But he did that just before against Canada, against Zerg players. So it would be weird if it wasn't Time.
And it's gonna be Time.
It's not weird.
So Time, Snoot on Acid Plant.
Oh, Acid Plant. Time's been doing kind of nothing but mech. The one bio game was a bit of a wonky game too. So, I think that kind of changed his mind. I do wonder he'll actually abuse. We didn't really get to see him play at Eastwatch, I guess. He died before he could.
Yeah.
I want to see Time do the tank push and then the bio drops and everything like that, because that's where I find the most fun in Terran. But
yeah, he played the map earlier against BioIce, I believe. I don't think it was the game against Jake. I think it was the game against BioIce. But the thing is, as I said before, the openings and the fact that he was basically winning the game in the 6-7 first minutes by just running Alien by, it's not going to happen against Snoot. So there's not that much that we can learn from that previous game.
I think it doesn't happen for 2 reasons now as well. One, it's Snoot, and Snoot doesn't die like that. And then 2, Snoot just played a very ling-heavy, aggressive run-by style. If anything, Time's going to keep his Hellions at home and be like, it's not worth killing 10 drones.
Yeah, makes sense. I agree with that.
Okay, well, we'll find out if Time will be able to do a second remontada today. And stay with us, and we're gonna go into a break. Hello and welcome back with us. I'm here with Funka and Rotterdam for Snoot against Time. Will Time be able to take revenge?
It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. Like, from what I've seen from Time today, it's like, yes, he can win games. Obviously, in the ZVT matchup, he's a really great player in that regard. But Snoot, it's just like, even in the best of 1 matchup, like, he's so solid. It's so hard to even take 1 game out of this guy. So I'm just not feeling it for China right there.
Yeah, it seems like we got a couple tweets coming in just in case I miss a great one. I don't want to start my little rant just yet, but Max said is a cool player. I know he booted soon, not too long ago, on ladder. So we got a little Max set fan in the mix. That's good.
Well, his WAP Prism micro was quite out there, right?
I think his crisis management was great in that game. I love this tweet. Poseidon is throwing so hard, he might get a job playing baseball. Somebody else tweeted out that Poseidon was throwing it as hard as a hand grenade or something. Penguin joining in the mix as well. That's cool.
Yep. But no, what?
Yeah, talking about
What do you think?
time against Snoot, I must say that I love the way that Snoot approached that game. And it's so weird to me because all day long we see Time opening up with a lot of Hellions, a lot of Hellbats. And then the one game where he only has like 2 Hellions and he opens up with a 6 Marine Mine Drop. That's the game where Snoot produces 24 links and runs into his natural.
Yeah.
And from that point on, that game just spiraled out of control. I almost felt for both. Because at one point, I was actually starting to get a little worried for Snoot. When those Hellbats were in the natural, that Banshee, it's so useful that he had a Spore Crawler there. If he doesn't have the Spore, then I actually think that Banshee goes uncontested.
It could be a comeback.
And then it could suddenly get very ugly very quick. But that was a fun, scrappy back-and-forth game. I don't think the next game is going to have the same pace. I think we're going to have a slower approach from both players. And let's see. I mean, Time is good enough, but can he get the job done? I don't know.
I want to see a 2-Rex. Just try it.
2-Rex?
No, I know it's not going to happen, but it's just like, for some reason, I don't see it happening in a macro game either. Like, well, at least maybe, as Jess said, like, just, keep the Hellions back, just wait for it.
That was a unique game. You can't judge Time
We're
in a macro game.
gonna find out right now if Time and Snoot are gonna play the same.
Okay.
Here we go.
Our map is going to be Acid Plant. Okay, a map for some potential run-bys as well, but also a map where I feel the Time in general feels like a fish in the water. Loves his drops into the main base, loves the Hellbat pushes, loves the Cyclones on this map as well. Curious to see which build he's actually going for. We couldn't even really see Time his strategy in that previous game.
No, not at all.
He was basically forced to rebuild Hellions over and over and over again. Either way, it's do or die for China. All hope is on this man who's spawning as the Red Terran in the right bottom side. Give it up for the man we call... I want to do something cool with his name, but I can't. It's Time!
And now production is like, okay, the music is just over, the French cast is going crazy, they don't know how to open things up.
My intro was so late, we missed
Oh my god! And I said it was not going to happen, what the hell? In the top left, he will have to defend against the oldest all-in in the book. As the Blue Zerg for Norway, he is Snoot.
But it is a spawning pool before the hatchery. Now this could potentially be very good news, of course, for Snoot. That Overlord is also on track to scout this. Not immediately, but will scout it eventually. Now my big question is, what happens if Snoot produces 6 Zerglings, sends them to the other side of the map, and the wall is not complete yet?
Then it becomes a hell of a game, Roddy. That's for sure. Because microing your SCVs as much as you can. You can either lift off, as Mapu is showing off. Also, well, you could also save a couple of SCVs if you didn't turn it into an orbital. But with this build, you're not cutting that many SCVs. You have the money to go for the orbital. But that Overlord, as you mentioned...
I feel like he re-rallied it. I honestly felt it was close.
He sees it. He sees it, but he sees it now as the bunker is already 50% into production. It's going to be 1 SCV and a Marine against 2 Zerglings. So now the micro comes in from Time, and that starts off pretty well. Let's see if Snoot decides to cancel or goes for something different. He will go for a Spine in the main base on the side, gets the second extractor.
And the Roach one. So Snoot gives us the suggestion here that he is going to eventually let this hatch die, and he's going to cancel it as well at the very last moment. Now, of course, he puts himself in an awkward position. No Zerg enjoys making a bunch of Roaches and Ravages. That is a super quick layer. 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the game.
On one
Snoot
base.
fires up the layer on one base.
I like the reaction from Time. Like, he knows there is a hatchery that's been cancelled, so obviously Snoot will try to transition into something different, so you don't have to produce that many more Marines. It's not like you're going to break the Zerg player in his main base, so you retreat with your 2 barracks, and then maybe in the main you'll be able to get a proper defense, because one of the things that pops into your mind instantly is, I'm going to get Nidus, right? That's the thing. So you need those units at the opposite side of the map. Let's see what he decides to go for with the factory. He has a tech lab. So tanks are going to be in this game.
Wouldn't Cyclones be better here?
Well, the thing is, if you place your tank properly, if you have the time to at least build one, then I would say that tanks are quite okay. Oh, he goes for a Spire?
What?
Or is that a Nidus? I don't know.
Spire, I think. I think it's...
It's a Nidus. Okay,
I was about to say, why would he make 6 roaches? It really felt weird to put it in the corner of his main. I was like, what? There's no way. All right, so he swapped out. Okay, I actually like this a lot. He gets the Cyclones. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think one tank is very risky. I mean, he has plenty. The Marines are going to be very useful as well. If you put the Marines behind the SCVs, Snoot puts it all on the line for Norway with a ridiculously... Whoa. What? You don't need that time.
Yeah, and you also need the Banshee before the cloaking field. Like, he doesn't have the minerals.
I thought he had
he's actually supply blocked. That's the reason. You need to kill one of your own SCVs when you do that. Now he scans, doesn't see anything. He actually sees the roaches go on the north side.
Why would you have that many roaches? Okay. Oh, is that the... Okay, where's the Nidus? Okay, the Nidus is already being thrown out. But that is the only Nidus, right? Imagine if he loses the Nidus network. I don't think he has that many queens. Not that much transfuse available. It all comes down to this.
Okay,
for China.
Oh, the transfuse comes in, but the second one will not connect. Is this going to be enough? That's only 3 roaches and a queen. And that's going to be fine for Time, as he has a command center building once again. He will go for another Nidus right away, though.
Yeah, but I mean, if you stop the first one, the second one is always a little easier. The queens went down as well. So Time knows all he has to do is just click on the Nidus, kill it as quickly as possible. Only a couple of roaches will pop out. And this spells disaster for Snoot. Worker-wise, he may not be down that much, but tech-wise, it's really bad. Base-wise, it's ultra bad, and Snoot knows it. GG.
All right.
Time with the 2 Rex, Funka. You called it.
Yeah, I called it, but I didn't have faith in my own call. I said it was not going to happen, but still, I wanted to see it game 1, and then happens game 2. But well, I wouldn't say he got lucky by any means, but I think Snoot's overlord positioning and the path he took made it a little bit too late for him to scout and react to it. And then instantly after that, I think Time clicked with everything that was about to happen to him and had the proper units in place to defend against that Nidus. Really well played by the
It's so nice that he has the 7 Marines as well, right? Don't be stubborn. Don't leave your Marines in the bunker on the other side of the map. Because if Snoot doesn't try to kill your bunker within the first like 40-50 seconds after that hatch gets cancelled, then obviously he's got a different idea. He's got something else in mind, in store for you. I love the reaction at home, and obviously the big downside of Nidusing this early is that you only have like 2, max 3 queens available. It was actually only 2 queens, and then you're looking at 1 or 2 transfuses, so you can just ignore the queens, you ignore the roaches, you just keep clicking on the Nidus, then you cut off all reinforcements, and at that point you only need to kill the queens once, and at that point I think Time already knew immediately. He's like, alright, survive the first one, that's good enough.
Yeah, and he was feeling comfortable enough to throw down like command center. So yeah, definitely, even if that Nidus did a tremendous amount of damage, which he did not, he would have been in a pretty decent spot with having that second command center. Norway still has your favor in the chat. 72% of you think they will take it, as China only gets 28%. But now, it's starting to look a little bit more difficult, because the only player remaining is Sight for Norway. So it's going to be a TVT coming up.
Who is pretty good, actually. Don't sleep on him. This Scythe is one of those European Terrans that you may not be that familiar with him. You may not see his name in the WCS Top 16. But that doesn't mean that this young man can't play. He's absolutely capable of putting up a very good fight here against Time. Now, Time is the favorite, but I won't go as far to counter him out.
Yeah, okay. I would see that. I actually want to see a cool game. I want to see something quite difficult for Time, but I do still think that we should see that 7th game, which makes me happy. Yeah. Because today would have been like quite a difficult day to predict. You mentioned it, and it appears to be true.
And also, I mean, today we had also a doom scenario of potentially having a very short broadcast. I was already going here. I was like, Bunch of Zergs, no regret, only 2 matches today. This could be 4-0, 4-1. We could get out of here within an hour and a half. And it definitely doesn't make me happy. Like, if I travel to a studio, I want to sit there and cast some proper games with StarCraft. I want to see stuff that I haven't seen before. I want to be surprised, be caught off guard. And, well, especially the Set versus Poseidon game was first in my book. I mean, bizarre game. But yeah, it's awesome that even if we only have 2 nation wars, it seems like both of them have potential to go down to the wire. But we're not there just yet, as Scythe has the opportunity to become the unexpected hero, perhaps, for Norway in this nation war.
Yeah, remember, guys, we're qualifying the second nation for the round of 8 right now, and it will either be China or Norway. In the bottom right, just took down Jens Asgard. Snoots is the Red Terran, sorry. Time.
Time must have a pretty impressive win record so far in Nation Wars as well, doesn't he? Like, I know he dropped a few more maps than Raynor, but he's absolutely been on point.
Oh, yeah.
This man is trying to save that potential rubber match. He wants to end it right here, right now. For Norway, it would be a big victory for this young man. It's Scythe.
Let's see what he brings to the table. One of the only TVTs we've seen. I think maybe we've seen a couple more. I think Italy played a TVT a little bit earlier, yesterday. Yeah. But we'll see what they decide to go for, as the matchup is pretty well mapped out. In general, we'll see that both players will go into double refinery right off the bat without expanding or anything. It's considered quite greedy, quite dangerous these days. You rather want to have those factory units, those starport units, as soon as possible, and get those double refinery actually makes you able to do that right away.
Yep, so just focusing on the tech, want to get those factory units out. Most likely we're going to see Reaper Hellion. Sometimes you see a single Reaper and then a Hellion, and then of course it is Cyclone time.
Cyclone time.
And then once the Cyclones are out, you potentially see multiple command centers being dropped as well. Look at Scythe, he's just scouting all over the place. Is he going to proxy something?
Proxy starpots?
But why? Why there and why that close? No! Wow!
Second factory!
The one-base shenanigans? Alright, Scythe! I like it!
And now Time scouts it right away.
Yes.
It's like, oh!
And then I'm gonna be like, that's why I didn't like it.
That's why you didn't like the positioning. You like the strat. You didn't like the positioning.
Right now I like both. Always hide in plain sight.
Oh my god!
No way! You're kidding me, Fonka! That has to be a joke.
The fate of Norway just relied on one single pixel.
That is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
And how he expands.
And when that kind of stuff happens, when you see the unlikely amount, or the unusual amount of Cyclones, you're like, what the hell? But I did scout though, like.
And Cyclones end game so quickly. The Hellions and the Reapers will move
they
out.
Won't see it.
Oh, they saw the SCV. Yeah, but I mean that's so quick. Like that's hard to see.
This is.
But he could potentially win this skirmish in the middle of the map. But this is actually terrifying for Time. But we most likely has to give up the low ground. And then the question is, can he actually stabilize in his main?
Oh, it's gonna be super tough as the first Cyclone will pop out of his factory on the opposite side of the map. Does he try to? Maybe take the units in the back, or
I
you just wait? You wait for more Cyclones. You want to end the game right away, and there is no reason for Time to go into like tank production or something like that that will help him. He has the double Cyclone production going for himself.
One thing you will have if your Time here is SCV advantage, and SCVs are actually massive. Now this is a big scout, of course. Time is like, wait a minute, wait, what? I'm in your main base, and now I think he knows. But is this too late? I think he needs to evacuate his low ground, and you know, don't worry about these Reapers anymore. You just need to survive at home Time. But you need to not fight here. You need to fight in your main, I think.
Okay, let's see. Let's see what happens, because Time didn't move. The first Cyclone will escape, but that's 3 Cyclones against 3 with the double Reaper. That's going to help tremendously. We'll see if Time can still deal some damage at the opposite side of the map. The first Cyclone will fall for Scythe and Norway, and that's quite bad as a start. But now a second Cyclone comes in. This one is not hurt at all. He will take out the first one, but the micro from Time is so good inside.
And he blocks the Cyclones out as well. Yep, saves both of his Cyclones. He's going to be able to repair them. Of course, did some damage on the other side of the map as well. Is still very far ahead economically. Has that reactor, so he is producing 2 Cyclones at a time. He's going to be able to push out a lot of damage on this as well. I think Time has done it.
Yeah, Time has done it. He just avoided the snowball effect with perfect micro, and Side just, you know, messed up a little bit in this fight, not being able to click on that last remaining Cyclone with only a couple of HP left. This is so hard. This is so tough for Side. It started so well for him with that factory not being scouted. GG, well played.
On paper,
rubber match.
On paper, it seemed that this was everything that Scythe could have hoped for. It went undetected, it was unscouted for so long. He goes up against an expand build as well. He hit it for as long as possible, and then you feel, well, if it's ever going to happen, this is the moment. But I really think that the Reaper scout was massive. Then obviously Time knows that something's going up, and obviously his reaction and always using high ground advantage was a really big deal.
Oh no, he microed that pristinely, Time that is. I mean, of course you could argue that there was a... What is this?
I don't know if that went out to the stream or not, but we've got a preview monitor. And Funka
I hope it was on the stream, though.
They did it on purpose, you think?
I don't know, but I hope it was on the stream. It was on the stream. It was just confirmed, so it's cool.
Really? Oh
Yes.
my goodness, this is going to be great.
There'll be some memes, I can guarantee you. But yeah, pristine micro from Time. It's happening again.
They're doing this on purpose.
Are you guys trolling us?
Yes. This is great. This is a professional broadcast, guys.
Super professional
we
indeed.
take ourselves very seriously over here. My integrity will never be the same again after being part of this.
It's actually nice because I'm trying to make a point and I just can't because I'm looking at my at the preview monitor. I'm waiting to get trolled a little bit. But no, yeah, just in general. I'd say Scythe messed up his micro a little bit, but you got to take into account like the pressure that's on your shoulders, because if you're not like a particularly all-in player, when you have that strategy in mind, as you do it, you're like, I'm putting everything in that basket. Like I don't want to play a macro game, so you start feeling pressured a little bit. And he had the opportunities like, so close, you know?
I know, I feel like there was upset potential here, but I still like it. I was talking with one of the French casters about this yesterday, Imre, and he said, I really don't get why some of these guys that are just very serious underdogs. You know, you're not talking 150 or 200 MMRs. We can take a look at the final moments of this game once again. I love the high ground vision. I feel like he should have thrown some grenades. Wouldn't that have been very useful?
Oh yeah, of course. If he's able with that Reaper to at least connect with only one Cyclone, the thing is, you can still hit on those units as they lose DPS. And the Cyclone is a unit that you never want to miss any time to shoot, as it shoots super fast. So every time you're moving, not attacking, or in the air, airborne because of a Reaper mine, you're losing so much potential DPS.
And also, if he throws it behind the Cyclone, then either they have to drive very far away or they get launched towards you, which means they cannot micro them back anymore because they're too close to your own Cyclone.
Yeah.
And so we're getting a cheeky tweet from Kids Forever saying that the hype is always real.
And he's scoring the French portrait in game. What a good guy. What a good guy. We didn't get that much time on screen, but we'll be there forever with the portraits.
Some of the country balls are so cool. I think obviously all of them are cool because the effects are just cool. I must say, like, the Dutch one is, for me, it's a little too exploding.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I don't recognize my own flag,
I
but
know.
the American one is sexy, and I thought the Ukrainian one looked really cool as well.
And the Korean one, I think, is pretty badass as well.
Yep.
You have to.
Yeah,
also, we
should we count down or let's talk about
Snoot.
Let's talk about Snoot versus Time.
Yeah.
So this is going to be Game 7, guys. Snoot versus Time. We're all very excited for it. Why are you still glancing over?
I was afraid.
Come on, we made an agreement here. We're in this together.
I'm sorry.
This could have been the greatest segment ever, where for 2 minutes we would talk about a game that's not actually happening.
That would have been great.
This was our moment to make esports history, Funka. No surprise here.
No surprise, obviously. I would just like to add, like, you can see it on the last sequence of the replay that we shown. At some point, Scythe goes back with one of his Cyclone, doesn't even save it.
Yeah.
And at this moment, I really do believe that It's not time for micro. It's time for selecting the Cyclone maybe you want to kill, and probably the one on the top, but you don't want to go back. You want to go further, even though it looks kind of dangerous. I think you don't want to go back, and obviously he lost it. So
sometimes like micro can hurt your own attack a lot as well, because it's not about saving units, it's about getting the most possible damage done in the shortest amount of time possible. And at the moment you try to micro your own units back, you lose a lot of potential DPS. And if it backfires like it did there, I mean, yeah, that's almost immediately the end. And of course, we do have to give kudos for to time as well for just excellent positioning of his units, using that high ground advantage. Everything you said about the Reaper grenades and losing out DPS matters just as much on high ground. You shoot before your opponent. You get a couple hits off, and in a Cyclone battle, that's a very big deal. So guys, for the second time today, we are loading into Game 7. Who is going to be our nation that will qualify for the quarterfinals? On the right bottom side, we're looking at a man who is once again being a cheeky boy. He's representing China. It's time.
He's got double barracks, not in his main, guys. That's a really aggressive opening once again from this man. And this one, lost to it already. Can he defend it to qualify for the round of 8 for Norway? It is Snoot.
Look at Mapu. He's like, I want to show the Overlord. It's really close.
Just introduce the players already. He's seen it.
Snoot saw it, right?
He's seen it,
yes.
He's seen it and doesn't reveal it, which is super important. And now he's going to pull the drones.
But the barracks, his first one is very... well...
It's pretty well protected by the map in itself. Now the SCV is in a good position, so he might be able to cancel the second racks, but the second SCV is still alive. So after this one gets taken out...
RNG!
Oh my god, he gets the 2 racks, and that's 4 drones out of it. That's quite tough for Snoot. He has the hatchery going for himself, but though...
I mean, he gets the 2 Rexes, but he loses one of the SCVs that could have been building a bunker or at least repaired to get the other bunker up. I mean, 2 Rex is dangerous, but don't... Oh, he gets the second SCV as well, so that means it's only Marines, it's no bunkers. And then I kind of like this for Snoot.
Yep, he already has 6 Zerglings out, and now time is going to try to micro his heart out, but he needs a 3rd Marine. He needs something to deal damage a little bit more, and that's a nice surround from Snoot. And maybe the fate of China is going to be in the hands of those 2 Marines, 2 remaining Marines. Nice micro from time. We'll get the other Zergling, but still at the opposite side, we've got a Spine Crawler, we've got a Queen, we've got everything on the side of Snoot. That 2 racks is not going to kill this time.
Nope, not at all. The factory is more than halfway done at home, so of course you can start producing maybe a couple Hellions or a Cyclone and eventually follow this up with a Starport, but it's a pretty disastrous start for time, guys. He has no command center. Snoot's hatchery is already done, so this means that Snoot will have absolute freedom for at least the next minute.
Does he drop the 2 racks? Sorry to interrupt, but does he drop the 2 racks in the 3rd base and produce his Marine? Yes!
He's supply block though.
That's so sick.
And that's actually kind of a big supply block.
That's a tough one. Okay, the second depot, well, he's got 2 depot going. But I think we're looking at just a 1 base timing. Hellbats and Marines on 1 base.
I mean, you got to do something, right? After you fill 2 racks. This is kind of cool. I mean, like, if you turn it into a macro game, it's going to be borderline impossible. So you may as well put it all on the line again. This is like his second all-in in the same hand of poker.
Yep. It's an SCV pull. It's a pull the boys situation, right?
Really?
I'm wondering if
to repair the helmet?
Yeah, you bring a couple of SCVs. I'd be super surprised if he doesn't bring everything.
I don't think he needs to have that many anyway,
exactly.
Right?
Like, he doesn't need the gas anymore. Like, for instance, every single SCV that's working on the gas can go away.
Snoot is about to find these barracks in the backside. The Marines are protected for now, but he can start producing another Spine Crawler. He can be overly... It's still a massive scout.
It is a massive scout, but as you mentioned, nice positioning on the barracks. The Marines cannot be taken out yet. Couple of Hellions pulling the boys. Yep. It's happening, guys. Game 7 between Norway and China. A couple of SCVs remaining in the main base of time, but the aggression is going to come now. There's going to be only Zerglings and a couple of Spine Crawlers. That 3rd one going up right now, super important for our boy Snoot on this one. Let's see if he can make it happen. against the Hellbats
Oh,
of
the
time.
Marines are exposed and these Zerglings are just going to go for the wraparound. Is this enough Zerglings though? It seems like the answer is yes, easily. So all the Marines have disappeared and all that Snoot needs to do is take care of a couple of these Hellbats. And the Spinecrawler does finish up. A couple of Marines are in the mix as well. It's still going to be tough, Funka.
Repair the Hellbat. Okay, he's doing it, and the second Spinecrawler is actually going to fall. It's not even cancel.
No.
There's nothing but Zerglings and a Queen. 4 Hellbats are doing the job right now. Only 2 Marines remaining. I can't believe it could be working. Well, Roddy, what are we watching?
I don't know. He gets the surround. Warcraft 3 surrounds over here on the Queen as well. So the Queen gets picked off. More Hellions show up. Snoot scouted the first Proxy Rex. He scouted the additional Rexes. There is one more Spinecrawler though. One Hellbat does go down.
Okay, don't go for it. Don't go for the Spine. I don't think that's the right target. He can get maybe the second one as he tries to get the wraparound on a couple of more Hellions that are coming in. Nice transfuse to save a Queen. And for now, Snoot looks like he's stabilized, but that's not a fight you want to take. And that time he needs to attack the Zerglings for a moment. He was just moving, and now there's no SCVs left. The Queens are doing the job.
Yep, the Queens have survived for long enough. Now there is plenty of energy available as well. That looked really scary and really dicey for a while, but that one Spinecrawler in the back of the natural for Snoot was worth its investment. 7 kills on that bad boy. Now Reapers are being produced. Time is just not giving up, but Snoot still on 3 hatches and 33 drones. I mean, I don't know.
Can we take a moment to just acknowledge the fact that Snoot is getting all-in on 1 base on the 7th game of Nation Wars, and he still produces creep tumors? Like, he doesn't even keep the energy for transfuse. It's like, no, you know, guys, I got it. But now a couple more Spines, actually 3 more, which makes it a total of 5, and we're still looking at a Terran player that's building nothing but Hellions.
I feel like he could have repaired more, right? It really felt like there was a lot more repair potential. One of the Hellbats went down to that Spinecrawler, and I think the Queens did a lot of damage. The Queens are technically the only thing that do damage there, so if you repair it, as time just goes for the drive-by, but this is a lot of Zerglings, an insane amount of Queens, and plenty of Spinecrawlers as well. So Funka, I think it's it. GG!
And Norway qualifies for the round of 8 thanks to Snoot playing an amazing game, an amazing last game. Crisis management out of this world.
Scouting.
I can't believe.
On point.
On point.
But I was still scared there for a small moment. I really think if he repairs those Hellbats a little bit better than he did, because like normally the key of Zerg is like obviously the Queens stay out of range and every bit of damage matters. But if the boys are in the mix, then it doesn't necessarily go like that, because they can repair each other, they can repair the Hellbats. And with Lynx, it almost feels like it doesn't matter how many you have. If 6 Hellbats stand there in a circle, you can have 35 Lynx and they still get roasted.
It was so close. But imagine, even like if he doesn't get that wraparound with the Zerglings earlier, like I think a lot of things went super good for Snoot, and his crisis management and his scouting in particular did super well. For now, like the SCVs attacking the Spine, I agree with.
Yeah,
but
this is
like,
fine.
Starting now, I would like to see the SCVs repair a little bit more. They do it on the Hellbat on the right side, but just in the end, did he? How many did he pull? Like, is that like 6 SCVs?
No, he had more than that. It was 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I just feel at this point the SCVs are just not doing much. The Queens are pushing out. I love this little surround, and at this point I almost started to believe.
Oh yeah.
But he loses a lot. Now he loses 1 Hellbat. That was not repaired at all. 2 Queens gone down the Hellbat, well normally if you have 2 SCVs there, and obviously this was the moment where these Spine hits are so precious.
Yeah, that's the moment I do believe you want to go for the main. Like when he gets the surround on the Queen on the top side, you want to go slowly towards the main. There is no Spines there. There is a couple of drones. Most of the income comes from the main. Anyways, he loses a little bit of DPS right there as well. But it's just like, there's so many decisions that you can take in a game like this, and just in the end, I think Snoot was just a little bit more precise and, defended it, well, you know, by the skin of its teeth. That was quite hard. That was quite hard for Snoot.
I really wonder how that would have played out if he doesn't get the scout on the 2 additional barracks on the south side, because then that push happens with like 7 more Marines as well. And of course he had a few extra links then, but pretty crazy way to end this nation war.
Crazy.
That was a really exciting game to watch. And now we have the second nation to qualify for next round with Italy, so it's Norway. And the interview is ready. We're gonna have Poseidon, Scythe, and Snoot with us to talk about this crazy win.
Oh yeah, and that's good because I've got a couple of questions.
Where is that Snoot smile? Give it to me.
Congratulations! Oh, you have your flag. That's nice.
Good
Okay,
job.
so let's talk about the last game just to begin with the interview. So Snoot.
Yeah.
How was it?
I don't play games. I don't play games like this very often.
Okay.
And yet, your crisis management, I do believe that it was quite good. I mean, especially in scouting. Like, you scout the 2 racks super early. Well, he just took you out just before with the 2 racks as well. So I guess you were quite prepared for that. But then getting the other scout on the barracks on your 3rd base, I mean, getting those Marines out of the way before the game starts, because people tend to forget that Marines have a pretty decent DPS in the early game. So it would have made a lot of difference. But how did you, like, calm down and was able to just defend in the end?
Well, I scouted the initial proxy 2 racks very early, and after that I was just like, okay, I just need to not mess it up from here. And I don't remember exactly why I scouted my pocket 3rd base. I think maybe was it an Overlord scout or a Lane scout?
Overlord.
I don't remember.
It was an Overlord scout.
Yeah, I think maybe I was trying to scout for something like a proxy starport in the south. You know, that's usually my type of logic. So when I found the Raxes there, I knew I had a great opportunity to not show my Overlord, not show my scouting, and get a couple of free Marine kills.
It still got very close, I think, at one point, right? When the 2 spines in the front went down, you know, like the first one got a couple hits off, then the second one went down. And when he surrounded that queen on the north, I'm suddenly looking like, uh-oh, this actually feels a lot scarier than I thought it was going to be, especially with the SCVs still being there, because the potential to repair those Hellbats as well. Were you worried at that point, or still felt like you had it in the bag?
I was quite concerned, actually, because the SCV pulls, they're always so unexpected and they're always so powerful. So I didn't really expect the push to be this strong. And every time you see the SCVs, your heart usually sinks a little bit, because up until that point, you're basically trying to ask yourself, like, is he transitioning? Is he transitioning? But of course, you know, this is just one of my weaknesses, I think. I never seem to be able to grasp, like, how far ahead I am. So I should have played way more conservative and I wouldn't be in such a bad spot. You know, after killing all those proxied Marines and stuff, I should have realized that he was pretty damn all in, you know? But I always seem to have this kind of question to myself, like, maybe he's transitioning, and I think I need to get that out of my system for games like this if I want to get better.
So, guys, we'll talk about your games, Poseidon side, we'll talk about your games as well, but can you reenact how you were feeling as the all-in was coming from time? Or were you yelling in a Skype group or something because you felt like Snoot could lose to the attack?
Yeah, Poseidon and Scythe, how did you guys experience, like, the final moments on Backwater?
It was nerve-wracking for sure. Yeah, I have no idea. Like, it seems like, yeah, it's just a very... I don't think Snoot plays against it a lot, as he said, so like, I didn't know if he was prepared for it. So, but yeah, he came out with the win, so it's amazing.
Poseidon, you look like you just ran a marathon. You were feeling it, weren't you?
Yeah, I was feeling it real hard. It was like, I was more nervous when Snoot played against Time than I was when my girlfriend made birth to my kid. So my heart pounded like crazy.
This is some next level stuff right there.
Yeah. Oh no, that was awesome. I think no, I mean that's passionate. Right?
No, I think it's good.
Pure passion.
It's
as long as both things
okay.
ended very well, and I mean we know that Snoot ended well, so hopefully the kid ended well too, and then we're all happy over here. So I want to ask you as well, Poseidon, about your 2 games, because you played quite the PvP. I mean, obviously your first one. You had to disrupt, and I want to ask you real quick, did you do that against me on Blackpink once? I have the feeling that you did it against me.
No, I haven't done it against you, but I've done the Immortal one. With a few extra Immortals and with the Prism on the ramp there.
Because you had the Disruptor in the mix as well. There are not many people who do that, like the Robo and then the Proxy Disruptor on one base. Like, is this a Poseidon special, or...?
Yeah, I was like, it just blew my mind. I was never going to do it, but I remember I played on ladder against a Barked Protoss, and it happened to be a DNS, and his hold was like perfect. And I remembered, like, if you have a sentries and a good spread, you can non-stop hold the ramp. You will never get up with the Immortals. I was like, let's try a Disruptor, and I noticed when this ping was around, I knew it. He would never been able to do decent force fields and split good enough.
Okay, so that game was fun and great, and we're like, okay, what are we watching? But then you decided, like, no, guys, I haven't even started yet. This is not my final form, and you gave us that game on Blackpink. What on earth happened in your eyes in that game?
Well, it went as planned at the start, but I noticed the second pylon. I was supposed to make it different because usually I should never been able to let him get that gateway and core without losing it to cannons. So I was disappointed there, and I think the reason I lost was because of ping. I was impossible to micro with the gateway unit against a robo with Prism. It was so painful to lose unit by unit and steal that 5 HP on that Prism non-stop. But I think that if I kept 2 of the Oracle and just generated shield and went in, took 2-3 probes like I did in the start, I would won really easy.
All right, well, it was a very fun game. And Saif, of course, question to you as well. You decided to put it all on the line there with the 2 factories on 1 base build. What prompted it, and what made you go for it?
Well, it's really late in China, and so yeah, I think in a normal game I would have struggled a lot against time. So I had a planned out build. I think it still could have worked with a bit better micro, but it's different playing Nation Wars than playing Ladder, so didn't work out this time.
I still like it though, as an underdog, just going a little crazy, thinking outside of the box. You know, you obviously didn't see this, but we were watching with Fog of War, and he got so ridiculously close to scouting your factory twice. It was 1 pixel away 2 times with the Reaper, and I think with the Hellion as well. It was still a fun game for us to watch. But of course, I mean, overall, congratulations, guys. I'm sure we'd like to hear as well from all of you. You know, you're technically only 1 series away from making it to Paris. All you have to do is win the quarterfinals. Now, you guys did finish as runner-up in this group, which means you have to go up against winners of the other groups. We don't know the winners yet, but if you look ahead of the situation, who would you guys love to face?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Honestly, at this point, I think every single team is going to be insanely difficult. I think some of the groups are insanely stacked. So I think it doesn't really matter, to be honest. Every draw is going to be absolutely ridiculously difficult for us.
And I want to hear some of your predictions. So everybody was saying the group Poland with Poland, Ukraine, Finland, and Brazil is one of the hardest. And who do you think are going to be the 2 nations advancing to next round?
I would say Finland and Poland, probably.
And what about the group with USA, Netherlands, Germany, and Sweden?
I would say Netherlands and Germany.
You say that because Roddy is
that's an excellent prediction.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I think it's just how it is.
Okay. We talked a lot about your wall, Poseidon, but I can see that you have a piano behind you. Do you play?
Oh, me?
I don't got a piano here.
No, Snoot. Snoot.
Oh, okay. What are we talking? Yeah, Snoot plays the piano.
Could you play us something like to show your joy of your victory and your call? Okay, so if you call
no, there's no speakers on it, so you wouldn't be able to hear it.
But like, if
I'll
you
play
win,
a tune for myself, I guess.
But if you qualify for the semi-finals, could you play something for us, for your fans?
I think I'll stick to playing the games.
Okay, well, I tried. Yeah. Well, any last words? Scythe? Maybe?
Just thanks for watching, and please cheer for us in Round of 8. Hope to show some good games.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for the interview. Congratulations for advancing in Round of 8. And I wish you the best of luck. Bye.
Thank you.
See you.
Thanks, bye.
Goodbye.
So Norway here won against China. And actually, I got a message from Time. We couldn't have the interviews with the Chinese players. But after they won against Canada, so Time sent us a message. He said, I was so excited to win, but I never thought I could turn the tables. Thank you. Canada will always be our best friend. That's a really kind message.
That is super nice. Yeah, we need to think about that as well. Like, that's one hell of a group for China. 4-3, 4-3, 4-3. Amazing performance for Time. Unexpected well, I guess like good plays and pretty well developed games from the two protoses from China.
Yeah.
They will not making to the round of 8. I think they were able to do it in the Nation War 3, where they played against Korea, and that was quite a tough draw, obviously. But no, I think we need to remember that they played a really good group stage of Nation Wars, and they were super close for making it.
No, it was exciting. I mean, every match they were part of went down to the wire. And I said this many times during the cast, but I really think that Time is one of the players to watch in some of those WCS circuit events that are coming up. Even Austin, man. Like, if Austin would be happening tomorrow, don't forget that, you know, playing from China online is also very difficult.
Definitely.
If you put Time on a LAN environment, I really think he's going to shine this year. He's an excellent player.
Cool.
Well, now let's take a look at the schedule of this week. So, Group China is done. We have Norway in Italy advancing to next round. And tomorrow we're going to play Group Korea. So Korea will face United Kingdom at 5 p.m. Then we have Mexico against Chinese Taipei. And then we'll play the winners match to see who's going to advance, who's going to be the third nation qualified for the quarterfinals.
Now, I've got one question for you, Funka.
Yes.
Do you think it's going to be an all-kill for the Muslim, or do you think he lets Risky win a game or two and then gets the job done himself?
I would actually argue that Risky could all kill South Korea, but might throw a game on purpose so the Muslim can win a game against Korea.
And you don't think we're going to see Razorblade at all?
No, I don't think they will need him. But the thing is, he's been practicing so hard that he will be used at in the second round. You know,
do you agree with our analysis, Hajin?
Well, you're the pros here, so I must agree. But
she knows.
You know.
She knows. You can't say.
Oh, that's going to be fun. Team UK
Team
UK was really proper banter in the round of 32. It was great to see. It was awesome for Risky as well to have a great showing. And he's been playing a lot. Those guys, like when it comes down to motivation, when it comes down to us worrying if they'll be on time or not, no. They're going to be there 3 hours in advance doing warm-ups. It's going to be a great match. And obviously Korea is Korea, but this Korean team I don't think is invincible. It's very good, so I think tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun. Of course, Mexico as well. I mean, we've got Chem, Jim Rising, Juanito. Tomorrow is going to be a great day of games.
Oh yeah, definitely agree with you on this one, and I will not predict for 4-0 for Korea. Like, no.
I think 4-1 UK, but maybe 4-2. Like.
Okay. Well, we have Innovation, Sue, and MMA. And MMA is a captain for South Korea team.
Oh.
So
we'll get to hear him speak.
MMA actually had some good results in the GSL qualifiers. I saw he took out Elaser 2-0, and I find that pretty damn impressive already. Because when we talk about European Zergs, it's Sarah at top. Now some people might even go Rainer maybe, but normally you'd still say Elaser is our second best Zerg, and MMA already 2-0ing Elaser in a LAN environment. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I talked with Innovation and Bunny, who recently played and they won against MMA. And they told me like he was good. Like I was worried about his performance as he's coming back after 2 years at the army, and now he's back, and they were quite confident.
Yeah, and we always love MMA. I mean, he's such a champ. And,
but I also feel like I don't want to talk about MMA like, oh, he's such a great guy, and I'm happy to have him here, and he had a great career. I don't want to talk about him like it's over.
Pushover.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, if I cast MMA, I want to feel that old school Magic MMA.
Definitely.
And it seems like he's on the right track, so I'm very excited to see him play.
Yeah, and remember that he's part of that small club of players that were able to win on Wings of Liberty, Heart of the Swarm, and Legacy of the Void. So he does have it all, you know.
And in North America, and in Europe, and in South Korea.
He's got the triple crown.
Yeah,
exactly.
Triple crown. He's done it all.
Yeah.
MMA is an absolute champion. It's awesome to see him play, and hopefully we'll see that real MMA magic.
Well, you know, he drops 2 or 3 Marauders, kills the Templar Archive, and like 3 Stalkers, and that's what he does. What an amazing guy.
All right, so today's games are over. We really had some crazy fun games with Cannon Rush and everything. But tomorrow it's gonna be even better. So more StarCraft to come tomorrow. See you at 5.